The Lounge, a video game, movie, TV show podcast. We upload to YouTube and Spotify every other Saturday. If you like what you heard, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you. Alright. Hello guys, episode 15. I am your host Sebastian, and once again I'm joined by Dory, Mitch, and James, and everybody else has daytime lighting, and I'm in the dark blue.
I don't
finally have.
I mean, it is like midnight for James, I think.
Yeah, this is room lighting.
But it's like room
That's
lighting.
right.
But it's still like
I have natural light.
sunny lighting.
I have semi-natural lighting, so take that as you will.
Although even if I wanted to be near a window, I can't because we've had like a mini hurricane for like the past week. It's been like nonstop rain.
Jesus.
So like, even though it's my summer vacation now, I'm off for 2 months. I still have. It's like you wouldn't be able to tell because it's been so miserable outside. But yep, school's over for me, so I'm totally off work for 2 months.
And school
with pay.
School is over for me as well. I just I'm waiting for it in the mail, but allegedly I got my master's degree, so I'm very excited.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Yep,
I'm so glad it's over. I burnt out in March, so I was like, oh my god. But,
I'm contemplating whether to get my master's degree or not, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It depends if it's worth the getting a loan or whatever. All right, so today we're going to talk about the PlayStation Showcase, which has been pretty negative. A lot of people have hated it, but I have mixed feelings about it, which we'll talk about. We're going to go in depth and talk about literally every game in that showcase. We're also going to talk about the Overwatch drama with the PvE, and then we're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So let's start with the Overwatch 2 drama. Like, once again, Blizzard's in the news for a negative reason. James, can you take us away for us?
Yeah. So I don't know if how well you'll all remember this, but when they first revealed Overwatch 2, the sequel to Overwatch, of course, probably the biggest selling point that they gave for it was this kind of grand PvE mode, where you take the characters that you play as in PvP that you know and love and place them in this PvE situation, like a game kind of built from the ground up to be PvE, not like the event PvE modes that they had in seasons before that. And you'd have skill trees, you'd have hero modes and all this cool stuff that they pitched. And basically, a week or two ago, they came out and they said, "Yeah, we're canceling that. We're not going to do that anymore."
Yeah.
And a lot of people are annoyed about that, myself included, because essentially what that means is the whole reason for making a sequel to Overwatch now is to make it 5v5, charge you £20 for skins, and add a battle pass, which isn't a lot of change.
No, I remember being really excited for the PvE mode as well, once upon a time. Mainly because, at least generally, I just find PvE stuff a lot more accessible. Obviously when you're against bots, most of the time, it's not so much about learning a certain character or like perfecting their skills and learning the meta, all that crap. It's really just generally pick up and play, have fun, all that stuff. And the event modes in Overwatch are generally really fucking good. So it feels weird to get upset that it's like we're no longer getting like a promised game mode in a free game, but at the same time it just feels I don't know how to say it, but it's like I just like at least when the news first came out, I just remember feeling irrationally angry, almost irrationally angry about the fact that Blizzard just let this fall through the cracks again.
But
And
Yeah, I mean,
what's the point even of Overwatch 2 now? Like
Exactly.
really, what's the point?
well, yeah, exactly.
and the thing is, right? So they did when they broke the news, they did a lot of interviews,
Mm.
to I guess do some damage control. And I read some of them. The main one I read was GameSpot, and I think it was Tamir Hussein who was doing the interview, and he lobbed a lot of really good questions at them. Like he didn't hold back, and kind of grilled them about this decision. And they were like the answers they gave were kind of like typical marketing kind of let's pivot towards the good side and like we're really excited about all the stuff in PvP and all that kind of those kind of marketing answers. But they did say some interesting stuff. And one kind of thing that I picked out was the fact that they said that they came to this decision about the same time that they decided to release the PvP mode as a free-to-play standalone thing. And that was about a year and a half ago. And like that was when they decided to scale back the PvE mode. Maybe not cancel altogether, but scale it back. And so it feels like a shame that we're only learning about this now, because they kind of have said that was still coming, and we've all kind of been looking forward to that.
It almost feels like they made Overwatch 2 just to make an excuse, just to have the excuse to monetize Overwatch. Like they couldn't monetize the original game, so they just made a new one and then to monetize the hell out of it and use a Fortnite model. That's what it seems like.
This is the most Blizzard story I've ever heard in my life. Blizzard designs a game, says they're going to support it. It comes out 2 years later and is like, yeah, never mind, and then just completely undoes everything. I mean, I felt like Blizzard couldn't reach any new lows, and then I read this story, and I mean, within the video game sphere specifically, obviously, not comparing it to other things that happen in their workplace culture. But like within a video game sphere, I really thought they had already hit their lowest of lows. And then you look at this and you're like, wow, Blizzard, you really inventive in everything except game design, huh?
Because when did they announce the game? The whole like Overwatch 2 thing, was that 2018 or 2019?
I don't actually know. I feel like 2019 probably.
I think it's 20. I think it was. Wasn't it BlizzCon 2019? I think.
Yeah, no,
it was definitely at
November
BlizzCon.
20.
I think
November
it was
20. Actually, no, June 2019. Jesus.
Oh, so it wasn't BlizzCon?
I think.
And back then it was billed as, like that was before they broke the PvE and PvP into two separate releases. It was going to be a full sequel.
Yeah.
Like a full priced game with both modes included.
It's such a.
I mean, I think when they first like separated them, I mean, I forget what the wording around it was, but I feel like I remember most people saying that it was just due to COVID or whatever. It's like the COVID excuse. No one really had any doubts about the PvE not delivering because like it's PvE. How can you screw that up? But
yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, right? Because Mitch, I know you said a minute ago that you think that the PvE modes in Overwatch are usually really good. But a problem that I've always had personally with them is the game still, when you're playing those modes, the game still feels like it's designed for PvP. So there's never a whole lot of feedback and like shooting enemies and stuff, and it's not very satisfying. Like the story's laid out in a good way and everything. There are good elements to it, but like the gameplay doesn't feel as satisfying because it feels like it's just built on top of this PvP game. And the interesting thing is they're not canning the PvE mode altogether. Like all the skill trees and stuff like that are gone because the thing was. Okay, we're going to have skill trees for every character, and there's like 40 characters or something like that. And each of them's going to have like 40 skills or whatever, or like a skill tree with like 100 skills. I don't know, some crazy number. Way too ambitious. And so
Yeah.
they've gotten rid of that. They've gotten rid of all this stuff. But what they're still going to do is the single player, the co-op missions, the PvE missions. They're still going to put those into the game, into the PvE game, as part of the seasonal releases, in the same kind of fashion as we've had PvE events in the game before. But the interesting thing is, another thing from that GameSpot interview is, and this is a quote from Aaron Keller, the game director. He said, "If you look at Junkenstein's Wrath of the Bride from last year, that was using all of our new technology that we had developed for Overwatch 2. So the PvE content that we develop in the future is going to be using all of the technology and tools that we created before." So basically what he's saying is the Wrath of the Bride event that they released was using the technology for the PvE. So that's basically what he's saying, is that's what these new story PvE modes that they're going to add in are going to play like. And that Wrath of the Bride event played really similarly to the PvE events that they've had in the past. And they had that same kind of feeling of like, this doesn't feel like it's designed for PvE, So that's a big worry, because and just that fact in general kind of makes me like 10 times less excited for that. And it kind of feels like this is the last nail in the coffin. Like, I'd already stopped playing Overwatch 2.
I stopped playing by season 2.
Exactly. And this is like, this was the one thing that I would have got me to come back. This was the one thing I was looking forward to.
Yes.
And it being more of these kind of PvE events in the PvP game does not feel like enough to bring me back. That feels like, okay, I'm not going to come back to play these. That's it. I'm done with it.
Yeah, especially if they're going to be ditching the limited time event model and just having them permanently, at least I'd assume they would have them just permanently stay in the game, because they're story missions, because like if they're not limited time, it's people like me and probably you are just going to go, okay, well, there's no rush for me to come in, and it's probably safer anyways if I just wait until they have, a bunch of these before I actually download it again and start getting into them.
Yeah. I mean, but it's interesting that you bring that up, because I actually don't know. I mean, I could see them going either way on that, because I could see them, keeping them all in, but I could also at the same time, because I mean, that's the problem with Destiny 2, right? Where they've started removing older content because the game was getting too bloated. So I could see them doing the same kind of thing with this, where like it goes away after the season and the new stuff comes in, which would be a worry, because it's like you have to play it then, and you can never play it again once it's gone, kind of thing. But that is the trend.
Just creates the fear of missing out. I mean, I know with, at least according to what they've said, I know with what's it called, Destiny 2, that they've said that they're like not doing any more content gating or removing of content, which is good, net benefit for everyone. But I don't know, it's just, it feels really slimy still to promise something so big, and which even then, I'd say we can talk about how them adding in skill trees and adding in a bunch of different modifiers and missions and stuff is ambitious, but I don't want to say it was easy, because obviously I'm sure it would have been held to balance, but it's not, none of the stuff they were talking or introducing with the PvE mode was revolutionary, in any way.
And that's the thing, is I can understand where they're coming from in terms of the idea of it wasn't ambitious, but the scale of it kind of was. You've got 30, 40 different heroes, and you're talking about these massive skill trees with like 50 plus abilities for each one,
Yeah.
like unique abilities. Um, that sounds like a huge undertaking, but at the same time, and I like it's maybe not as easy as this because I'm not a game developer, so this might sound like the most ignorant thing to anyone who is, but
Mm.
if it's too ambitious to add 50 or whatever abilities for each character, why not just scale that back and do like 10 each, you know?
Like I think audiences would be infinitely more receptive to you just saying, hey, we've scaled back a few of the ideas we've already promised, as opposed to pretty much outright cancelling the entire project.
Exactly,
Or
yeah.
like at least the core fundamental promise of it.
Yeah. And this kind of makes, thinking back, it makes a lot more sense for all the people that left Blizzard, the Overwatch team specifically, in the past few years. Jeff Kaplan, the game director, left a while ago, and then
Did he leave before or after the Overwatch 2 reveal?
so he was the one that revealed Overwatch 2 and everything, and then
Okay.
I think he left kind of near the same time that they announced they were releasing both parts separately. So then that happened,
That
and
makes
then
sense, yeah.
other people followed suit. I think the art director and the game director both left. So
Yeah.
this, it would make a lot of sense for that to be tied to this because the timelines kind of match
Yeah.
up, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say, like, looking through like a Forbes article about this topic, like it makes some amount of sense, right? Them downsizing and if the project just isn't coming together, it just isn't coming together. But then it seems weird to just abandon everything and not put any of it into Overwatch 1 or to not patch any of it over into just to scrap all the work that the devs spent time on and hard work on seems, I don't know, just throwing out too much. So I don't know. I'm like
agree.
on one point, like I kind of like I see where if it's just not coming together, it's not coming together. And if they can't get the new if they can't get Overwatch 2 together, then there's no point delivering a subpar product that's also going to hurt their reputation. I'm not sure how much
Yeah.
lower the reputation can sink, but yeah.
But
Yeah,
that kind of is
yeah.
the Blizzard way, right? Like if a game is that they're making is not going to hit that quality bar, they just cancel it. I mean, look at StarCraft Ghost and that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, which is at this point, it's like how much lower can your reputation get though? Is
Yeah.
is the thing to ask.
Yeah,
real world stuff aside, like a lot of fans are upset with your current output of content.
Yeah, and
everything else.
The interesting thing to speculate about on this, for me, I think, is I wonder if taking more time and releasing a subpar product for this would have done more or less reputational damage than canceling it has, because people are not happy.
No.
So
No.
I wonder if this was the worst case scenario or the best case scenario for the situation.
I mean, it's like how bad could it be, really? Because I can understand, releasing a multiplayer project that is in a unsatisfactory state, because multiplayer just inherently affects literally all players who interact with it. It's like you have, at least theoretically, a lot more, like just as much, if not more, people playing multiplayer than you would in this type of game, a PvE game. Like, how do I word it? Basically, I can see people getting more upset if they release the multiplayer in a botched state or a scaled back state, as opposed to the PvE side of the game, because a lot more people care about multiplayer in Overwatch than PvE.
Yeah.
I can't see the backlash being bad enough to the point where Blizzard would be just outright afraid to release it at all. Like
I mean, the
like,
whole
I get
project.
I get the whole self quality checking thing, but at the same time, it's like just release it. What's the harm?
Yeah, I mean, the whole project kind of sucks because it means that Blizzard just completely doesn't tend to Overwatch 1 at all and just kind of like leaves it. I mean, not at all, right? I'm sure they do mandatory fixes and stuff like that, but for the most part, like, yeah, there's no quality of life improvements. Like, in that Forbes article I was reading, like, they've been working on Overwatch 2 as a project for like 2 years now, which means that the original Overwatch 1, the one that is still largely, I think, what people are dealing with. Is just, I don't know. It's not focused on it as much as maybe it should be, which means you've got the worst of both worlds.
To be clear on how the situation is unfolded, when Overwatch 2, when the PvP portion of Overwatch 2 came out, it essentially cannibalized Overwatch 1. So Overwatch 1 doesn't exist anymore. Overwatch 2 is essentially an update for Overwatch 1. So that's what people are playing now, and the PvE mode was going to be a separate facet of that.
I find this shit so confusing, but okay.
It is,
I get
it is
now.
unnecessarily confusing.
Yeah.
And it is really stupid. But yeah, that's how it is.
That's Blizzard. That sums it all up.
That's Blizzard for you. Yep.
Yeah. And we can move on in a second here, but the other thing to note is the fact that people maybe are more interested in PvP, but I think at the moment, I think the reason the backlash is so big over this is because I think a lot of people, maybe most people, were more excited for the PvE part of the game than the PvP mode, because they've run the PvP stuff into the ground so much by constantly adding heroes and upsetting the balance of the game and that kind of thing, and just kind of ruining it through updates. So it's interesting to me that in working on the PvP mode so much and sacrificing the PvE mode to work more on the PvP mode, but that's the same thing that's killing it's like this vicious cycle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I'm sure you're all aware, recently Fast and Furious 10 came out. Now, I want to stress that this podcast is not sponsored by Vin Diesel's shiny bald head.
I wish. I thought you were about to say something else other than bald head, but yes.
Probably good money in that. Please sponsor us, Vin Diesel. But I recently discovered the magic that is the Japanese titles for the Fast and Furious movies. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with these. So they give the films different titles in Japan. And so this will just take 2 minutes, but what I wanted to do was see if you guys could guess the Fast and Furious movie based on the Japanese title.
Okay.
And no Googling. So, I'll start off with the easy ones, right? So, the first one. Wild Speed.
And that's number 1, right?
Yeah,
that is number 1.
Yeah.
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 Wild Speed times 2.
That's
Too Fast, Too Furious.
That's
Too Fast,
now,
Furious.
these are just the warm up. So,
okay.
Wild Speed times 3 Tokyo Drift.
Well, Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift.
The third one.
Okay, but now this is when I'm going to stop doing them in order, and it's going to get difficult, hopefully. All right.
Okay.
Wild Speed Euro Mission.
Oh,
I don't.
I'm gonna go out for a wild one on this. I'm gonna say Hobson Shaw.
Nope.
Okay.
is it 7?
Nope.
Dang.
I would guess it was 8, but I don't know.
It's Fast and Furious 6. That one.
6.
Oh,
I know it was
dang,
either
I
6 or
close.
8. I know 7's probably gonna be about Paul Walker. Something really.
Do they go into Wild Speed Paul Walker edition.
Like,
The one tasteful use of replacing people's what do you call that? Digital alteration.
no, because usually
Yeah.
a very Japanese title is
Yeah.
usually like farewell something. Like they
Yeah,
usually
true,
like a
true.
character dies, they usually say like a heartfelt episode title.
What's the Cowboy Bebop thing? Like, so
They do
long,
that in Dragon
cowboy,
Ball
or
Z.
see you.
They'll
See
like
Cowboy.
they do that in anime where
That's
it's
it,
like
yeah.
they'll literally
See you, Space
spoil in the
Cowboy.
title. Yes, they'll literally spoil in the title certain characters dying.
Yep,
Mm.
especially Goku.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
heroic sacrifice.
Well, I'll do the next one now. So it's let's see. Okay, Wild Speed Jet Break.
I want to say that's 7, right? Because that's the one where they fall out of a
That is
jet.
not 7.
I'm gonna go 8 again.
Okay.
It's not 8 either.
9.
Number
It is 9.
4.
Yeah,
It is
we just
9.
keep going up.
I don't think I've seen these.
What?
I just realized I haven't seen
What
any
is
of these
it?
movies in forever. They
Yeah,
all seem like the
it
same.
What do
helped-
they
They all
even
seem like the
do
same
with
movie
a
to me.
jet?
No.
What do they even do with a jet in number 9?
I have no idea. That
Be
was
really
the
cool.
least memorable movie ever made. I watched it and it immediately fell out of my head.
Actually,
so I-
no, hold on. Maybe it's something to do with because they go to space in that one.
I thought they go to space in
That
10.
might-
No,
Do they
that
go to
was no.
space?
That's. I don't think so.
I don't know.
From
It's still in
everything I've
cinemas, I
heard,
haven't
yeah,
seen
it's
it. I'm
just-
not paying
Okay.
attention.
Although I'll
Alright.
say I genuinely
Yeah.
liked the first 3 movies, and then I just fell off after that.
No, yeah, the first 3 movies are great. I'm rewatching them.
Even the second one is not really a good movie. It's still like a guilty pleasure. It's like a
Mhm.
fun movie.
Yeah. Okay. Wild Speed Mega Max.
That's got to be number 10.
Yeah, that sounds like 10.
Right.
No, that's not number 10.
Oh, I would go with X. I
Wow.
would think because X is 10.
Yeah. I thought that too. 5.
It is 5.
Oh my
Again,
god!
Greg, you're on it.
I'm killing it. I've only seen one. I swear to God, I've only seen one.
I don't think I've seen 7, 8, and 9. I think I'm in 10. I think I stopped.
I
at 6.
intended to see the Fast and Furious
No, I
movies,
know.
like, all the way through.
No, I think- no.
never got around to it.
I think the last one I saw was the Paul Walker one when they did tribute to him. I felt like that was the end for the series for me. And
Yeah, that was probably the best point to jump off because every single one after that's been horrible.
yeah, I think that was like
Yeah.
the finale for me.
Yeah.
They're not the same
Alright.
without Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Here we go. Wild Speed Super Combo.
That sounds like a
Oh, yeah,
Power
that's-
Rangers show.
That's the one with Super Smash Brothers in it.
Yeah.
I want to say that's 5.
I'm gonna
No,
keep
we did
guessing.
5.
I want to keep guessing 8 because eventually I'll get it right.
It's not 8 either.
Oh no.
10?
It's not 10.
Oh, that's you, Mitch.
Super combo.
Super combo.
7.
I'm gonna go 4.
I really thought that was going to be the easiest one. It's obviously Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh,
I was
The
thinking
Super
Hobbs
I never
and
saw that
Shaw.
movie.
Oh.
I forgot about
course,
the
yeah.
spin-offs.
I think that's the only spin-off, but
That
yeah.
is the only spin-off.
Yes, I forgot about the spin-off. Yes, I forgot about the one spin-off movie.
The spin-off, yeah.
Wild Speed Fire Boost.
I'm gonna keep guessing 8.
Nope.
What the fuck?
He's-
4?
He's making 8 last
That's-
on purpose.
Oh wait, no, I already guessed 4. 3.
Nope.
Oh.
No,
I think- no, we already
did
did
the
3
first
earlier,
3.
yeah.
We did the first 3 already.
Oh, we did the first 3. Okay.
I'm gonna say 9.
No, we did 9 also. That one
Oh.
was Fast X, the newest installment.
Had
Oh, of course.
to be Fast X eventually.
We got a couple left.
Okay.
Wild Speed Sky Mission.
That's got to be 7.
That is 7.
Okay, there we
Good
go.
job.
I got 1.
What's the
Wild
movie?
Speed.
Wait, what's
Oh,
the movie where they like rob like a bank and drag like a big giant?
That's 5.
5.
Okay, that's-
Yeah.
As for reason I remember that.
Right. Wild Speed Max.
Are you kidding me?
I'm gonna go with 8 again.
It's not 8.
Did we just have
Oh my
Wild
God,
Speed,
how
Max
many
Speed?
fucking- Is
Wait.
it? Is it
Uh,
6?
No.
Did we already do 6? I'm losing track.
Um. So we've already done 4, haven't we?
No.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 8.
No, it's 4.
Oh, okay. Well,
I can't believe you didn't say 4 after he said that we hadn't done 4.
I was waiting for someone to say no or yes to that.
Oh, James did. You didn't hear James?
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that. No, no.
Oh, okay.
And the final one, Wild Speed Ice Break.
It has to
All
be
right,
eight.
Seb, take it away.
That's got to
That's
be
it.
8. Yeah,
That is it.
that's
Well
8
done.
because
I
they finished the movie in Antarctica or some shit.
Honestly, those
Yeah.
titles don't match any of those movies.
Really?
Remotely.
Icebreak is the one where the nuclear submarine breaks through the ice. So I think that fits.
Wait,
Well, I mean,
isn't
most
that
of
it?
them
Doesn't Dwayne Johnson isn't he like basically like just like basically just skiing along like the ice flats in Antarctica or whatever, and he with his own bare hands basically like does something with a fucking torpedo. Like doesn't he like kind of move the torpedo and like kind of launch it against another car or something? I feel like that happens in the movie. Let me search it up.
Handling a torpedo definitely sounds familiar.
Because like I swear to God, he's like holding on to, what you call like fucking like he's basically. Hold on, so I've got the clip up now. He is I don't know. There's a lot of cars, a lot of driving, a lot of people talking about random boring shit. Yeah, okay, so I've got the clip up now. Dwayne Johnson is stepped out of his car. It's still driving, and he's basically just is basically just skiing along the ice. Okay, and he just kind of nudged a torpedo into
Yeah.
another car while it was skiing along the ice.
I know this
And then
observation.
Ludacris said something.
I know this observation has been made a lot, but it is hilarious that that franchise started out with them stealing DVD players and saying race wars a lot, to then hijacking or something a nuclear submarine. It's weird.
Are we in the advanced warfare stage yet, where it's like they're fighting in space?
I mean, they did go to space, so
No, are we gonna get like full on hijack a rocket?
Exosuit.
I don't know. I haven't seen 10. I'll let you know.
It's like Jason X.
I'm like 90% sure. What you call it that? Yeah, like Vin Diesel said something about like for the next movie how he wants to get Robert Downey Jr. as like an Elon Musk type villain that creates AI cars, and he's the bad guy because he wants to create AI cars and wants to take the driver out of the car. So Vin Diesel is like, no man, can't do that. That's wrong. So then they have like a big car battle, humans versus AI.
At this point, they're just kind of like.
You could probably you could probably get actual Elon Musk to do that. He'd probably say yes.
Yeah, but he's not a good
He would.
actor, so it's probably not.
Yeah,
good.
but- Is
I
anyone in
agree.
these
I think we
movies?
should have Elon Musk in the next Fast and
is anyone in
Furious
these
movie.
That's
I also
true.
think we should have the guy who did the props and stunts for the movie that Alec Baldwin was in. Just by coincidence, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a coincidence.
What I honestly don't think that Elon Musk would be that out of place in a Fast and Furious movie. Like,
He really
just
wouldn't.
purely acting wise. Not to say that any of the other actors in these movies are outright bad, but I just love to have like all the actors in the franchise, all the charisma and shit, and then just Elon Musk just kind of like nervously stuttering through his lines. Just fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyways, we should move on.
Yeah, let's talk
Probably
about
should, yeah.
actually brilliant movies.
All right, so from one Vin Diesel series to another, we're gonna be talking about Guardians of the
Nice.
Galaxy Volume 3. It's a
That
much
was good.
better film series, obviously. Like, I
Yeah.
think arguably the best trilogy in the MCU, or at least up there.
I struggle so
It
much
is.
with like with that being a trilogy, because so much of the story happens in like Avengers movies and stuff. It just does not feel like a trilogy at all.
It does, but like I feel like the thing I noticed with this movie is that like, you know, like it feels disconnected enough from the rest of the MCU that it still stands on its own quite well.
It does,
And
like
mainly,
the films.
I say that in a, like not in a like, you know, story, like, you know, like a pure plot or storytelling way. I'm purely talking about just the quality and maturity of writing that's
Yeah.
on display
Yeah.
in these
I
movies.
mean, I think
unparalleled.
the only trilogy maybe in the MCU you could say is the Spider-Man trilogy, but I know a lot of people don't like the second one. I struggle to think of any other three.
Thor, Captain
any other
America, Iron Man.
Iron
those
Man. A
movies
lot of
are
people
so
didn't like
inconsistent
two.
to
A
me.
lot of people didn't like two.
We talking about? We say you don't like know what. There's other trilogies. Or you
No,
saying
no,
the good
I'm
ones?
saying I don't know what trilogy would outrank the Guardians of the
Oh,
Galaxy.
Captain
That's
America.
what I'm saying.
All three Captain America movies are great.
Again,
I've never seen the first one, but I do love Winter Soldier and I love Civil War.
Yeah,
So
all those
that's a
movies,
good contender.
I think all those movies are great.
Yeah,
I
fair.
find the first Avenger hard to rewatch, to be honest. Like it just feels so different from the other two ones.
That's why I like them so much.
Yeah, I don't know. And like even then, like even when I first saw the first Avenger, I remember just thinking that it's fine, it's good, but it's like, you know,
I don't know how you
nothing
can't
special.
enjoy him punching Nazis. I mean, it's a time-honored tradition.
Yeah, I mean it's
Well,
not the best
I'm
movie,
pretty
but,
sure
Winter Soldier and
it's-
Civil War are like top 5 in the whole
Yeah,
MCU.
they're so good. I love both of those movies.
I
The
agree.
debut of
I
Spider-Man
agree.
is still one of my favorite MCU moments of all time.
I still say Winter Soldier is the
I-
best Metal Gear Solid movie ever made.
Yeah, that's honestly probably true.
the thing is, right, with like I like the Russo brothers films, but they're compared to the ones that James Gunn does, they're so much more focused on plot than they are on characters, which is
Yeah.
where I think James Gunn's films really shine, because they can
Yeah.
have all the grandiosity and the superhero panache, but they can still be focused on the characters and their development and really tell an interesting story with them.
I like them for different reasons. They're just such a contrast to each other. Because Winter
Yeah.
Soldier and Civil War are very serious movies, while Guardians of the
Yeah.
Galaxies, they have their moments, but at the end of the day, it's all about like the chemistry and the heart and the fun of the Guardians. It's not the same tone. So I don't know if they're. That's the problem with comparing Marvel movies. Is just because there's so many of them now at this point that like they're so drastically different. Like, well, I know the formula is the same, but the tone of them, I mean, just like they can be very different. So it's like,
I feel like
what makes one thing better? Go ahead.
Without, you know, dredging up a age-old conversation at this stage, I feel like as problematic some, you know, projects in Phase 4 were, you know, like in terms of quality, I feel like I feel like most people would agree that Phase 4 had some of like the MCU's highest highs, but also some of their lowest lows, and that's purely just down to the fact that it seems that they were just experimenting for the first time in forever. Maybe not so much with, you know, like tone, but at least with, you know, the type of projects they greenlight, like especially with the Disney Plus shows, like, you know, Moon Knight and She-Hulk are like completely different from each other. Neither of them were particularly all that fantastic in the end, but you know, it's like, considering what a lot of people, myself included, were saying about the MCU come Endgame, come Far From Home, all that stuff, I really do appreciate that at least Marvel did take the time to, you know, experiment with Phase 4. And really, it seems that, but, you know, like, it plays to James Gunn's strengths that, you know, he can just do whatever. Like, he made a fucking Christmas special in the vein of the in the vein of the Star Wars Christmas holiday special almost, and it absolutely rocked. You know, like, I honestly, I have infinitely more faith in James Gunn's DC universe after seeing Volume 3, and I just
Can't be much
cannot
worse.
see how this man can. well, yeah, but it's like I can't see how this man can do wrong, and it's like I'll say it as well. I'm an unabashed Zack Snyder fan. Like, take that as you will. I like his movies. I love some of them even, but his plan for DC was not conducive to, like it was not going to, be the big, like it was not going to do DC many favors if that was like the only output they had on the big screen. Like if it was just Snyder movies for like 10 plus years.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean DC wouldn't have died, but it's like, it wouldn't have been good for them.
Snyder's
Public
was always the
image-wise.
wrong person to manage a whole franchise because he has his own vision, and his vision was to
Exactly,
make everything
exactly.
dark, which doesn't work with a lot of characters in DC.
Yeah, like I love so much of, like, I love his movies, but they, like, I just view that, like, Snyder's movies, or at least his time at DC, as the trilogy, as Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League. I don't count Wonder Woman or Suicide Squad or anything like that. Like the three movies that are undoubtedly his,
Yeah.
I like he should have just let him do the trilogy, or like do his own movies. He's not the guy to lead a whole universe,
Well, I
or
think-
craft a universe.
I mean, I think he's a fantastic visual director, but I think he's a terrible. I don't think he's a good writer. I don't think his writing is that good, in my opinion.
I mean, I personally love a lot of his ideas, mostly just because, like in hindsight, in retrospect, things that pay off in later movies, I, appreciate or like more.
Yes. So, but let's
but-
we should probably
yeah,
get back on
anyways.
track about
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy. So James Gunn is directed this one, is his final Marvel movie, or I would assume, right? 'Cause he's in charge of DC now. And it's been obviously a big success, critically and financially, and it seems like the general consensus is that it's very good. I thought it was fantastic. It might be my favorite of the three, which is saying a lot because I love
Oh yeah.
the first one especially, but I love the first two, and like it was a great ending, and not only just for like the main group, but like you can do all like future movies now. But I think we can hit on spoilers in this conversation now.
I'd say we
Okay.
can.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be. I mean, there's a new group of Guardians. I don't think they're going to do a new Guardians movie anytime soon. Like
No,
maybe.
I think
hope
this
they
is their
don't.
way. This is their way of writing off some
Yeah.
people who don't want to be. This is meta stuff, but I think this is their way of writing off some people who don't want to be in the MCU anymore, who don't want to keep doing that job. Sorry, very shaky table.
Yeah.
Who don't want to be in the MCU, or don't want to be in those movies as much, right? I mean, we know for a fact that Gamora's actress, whose name is slipping, is Zoe
Saldana.
Saldana. I knew I was going to say her last name wrong. Zoe Saldana is like tired of playing Gamora, so
Yeah, she's
I
tied
think
to two
that's
big franchises. That's why.
yeah. Well, she and she's been very public about that, so I think that's part of the reason. But I also think it frees up Chris Pratt to do other stuff with the MCU. And
Which
yeah,
is,
I mean,
for
He-
the MCU.
He says he's open to playing Star Lord again, but it had to be something that like, blows him away. But his character got closure, so.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and I mean they outright, like, I found it funny that he was the only character who was like outright confirmed to be returning at some point.
It did say that, yeah, which is.
I can't.
I was like weirded out.
can't
I was like,
imagine
that's
how.
why wouldn't you say the Guardians will return, not Chris Pratt? Or not Chris Pratt, but Star Lord will return. Whatever. I don't know,
Yeah.
I was like the person I want to see least come back at this point, even though I think he's still great at Star Lord. Even though but it is hard to watch this movie and not think, man, I've just had too much of Chris Pratt. I'm good on Chris Pratt at this point. I still think he's good in the movie. I've got no complaints about his performance. I think he does great, but I don't know. It's getting harder and harder.
My
to do
question is
I'm glad-
because he had the most closure, so how do you bring him back? Like of all the characters to bring back, I think.
that.
he
Yeah,
had the most
exactly.
closure.
I think that's true. I think he's the least necessary character to bring back. I totally agree.
Go ahead, James.
I've forgotten what I was gonna say.
Damn.
Oh,
sorry.
no.
That's right.
I do want to. I am curious. Like, did anybody? I didn't cry during the movie. Did anyone cry during the movie?
I was
I cried
crying, or at
constantly.
least,
I cried for
yeah,
half of
I
it.
was, yeah.
Wow.
I'm a crier.
I didn't cry at
was
all, and
shocked.
I'm usually a crier when it comes to films that are very emotional. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the VFX, or maybe
I tell you what.
Animal
No,
Cruelty
I
just doesn't do it
was,
for me. I guess
I tell
apparently.
you what's I tell you why I cried so much.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's interesting. I think it's because of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Like most people say
goat.
that's their least favorite film in the trilogy, and say it's not very good for one reason or another.
but James and I are in the correct opinion.
that
here.
it's incredible, yeah.
Yes,
But the
yes.
thing that it does very well is it explores Rocket's character, and what it did for me was it gave me a very strong attachment to his character, and
Yeah.
that is the reason. If the second film did not exist in the way that it does, I would not have emotionally. This third film would not have emotionally resonated with me as much as it did, because I was already connected to the character by coming into this film. So
Yeah.
even as early as the first scene, I was getting emotional just seeing him up there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this is a hot take, but I think Bradley Cooper is probably one of the best like voice actors in the MCU. Like, I feel like
No,
his
I-
raccoon voice
I-
is just like iconic at this point. It's just like such the right pitch. Like, I had a character that I did in a D&D campaign that was a raccoon, and I very largely based it off of Rocket Raccoon's voice because it's such a good voice, and he does it so damn well. And even when I think it's still him, even when Rocket Raccoon is younger. Like, what's wild about this movie is this movie does so much for Rocket. I love Rocket, but it does
It's
so
actually,
much for him, and he's like fucking knocked out for half the film.
It's actually not him. Sean Gunn does the younger.
Oh,
Rocket.
okay, cool. It did sound a little different, but it still sounded like him. So I was like, I wasn't sure if.
Oh shit! Really? I thought they just pitched up Bradley Cooper's voice.
Yeah,
No, it's
I
Sean
also
Gunn.
figured they did that. Yeah.
Oh shit!
Sean Gunn.
Okay, that
Sean
makes
Gunn
sense
also
now.
did the voice. Actually, the motion capture.
Mocap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
he's got range.
I find it funny though, because like, you know, Rocket is so, at least for the most part, is so distinctly Bradley Cooper when you think about it. But it's like, you know, you think about, at least for the mocap, like, you know, like, say what, like, just kind of jumping ahead to one of the big scenes of the movie, like Lila's death scene, and you know, like where just Rocket just fucking screams and sobs, and that scene wrecked me. But anyways, it's like, you know, obviously you just think of Bradley Cooper's just, you know, like his acting, how powerful that scene was, and then just imagining Sean Gunn also acting that out, at least for the mocap,
Yeah,
is wild.
because that
to
part
me.
was Bradley Cooper doing the voice acting.
Yes. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's at that stage that was Bradley Cooper. But yeah, it's
I mean, he's iconic at this point. Like,
Yeah, but I think to bridge the gap
they
between
both
the two,
are. Yeah.
not to
Yeah.
diminish Bradley Cooper's work, because he is phenomenal. But I think to kind of bridge the gap between those two actors, both playing that same role, you can kind of look to just the way that James Gunn writes that character and directs him as well. For like there's a lot that has a big impact on it as well, which is why obviously Sean Gunn is obviously able to extract a lot out of him, just like Bradley Cooper is.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first movie Star-Lord is not the protagonist. The whole movie centered.
I think they kind of, in the second film, I think it kind of
focused
feels
a
like a
lot.
progression, right? It kind of feels like the
Yeah.
first film is about Star-Lord, but then the second film, it's kind of half him and half Rocket in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And then in this film,
I mean,
it's Rocket.
it's very much, yeah. In the second one, they're very much dual protagonists because they are keenly the focus. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'd say, you know, one of the things that really amazed me about 2, even, you know, back when it first came out, is how I think it's probably the only MCU movie as you know, other than the first and now third Guardian movie, where like every character has like a clear and really well thought out character arc, at least to some extent in that movie. I mean, obviously, like Star-Lord and Rocket, they have, the bigger character arcs, but like it has a lot of, kind of like great moments for even just, side characters like Mantis and Drax and
because we know the characters so well, so they don't have to set up backgrounds anymore. Like we can just kind of jump into that's one of the advantages of like the format of the MCU, is that you can kind of just, it's kind of like a comic book. You kind of just, here's the characters, let's just do an adventure.
Yeah.
So that's one of the as much people complain about the format, but
I thought they handled the Gamora and Star-Lord stuff really, really well. I think it would have been so easy for them to take the easy road. I was trying not to use the word easy twice there, but try not to take the easy path there and just have them come back together, right? But instead, they finally, I feel like in a while, I haven't. This is the first MCU movie I've watched since No Way Home, right? So I haven't watched anything since then, and not even TV stuff. I'm just super burnt out on superhero stuff for the most part. But I love Guardians, and my friend really wanted to see it, and I wanted to see it with him. I think it would have been really easy to go down that way, and they didn't, and they respected that. I don't even remember. Can someone explain to me how Gamora came back? I don't. She came back with her memories, but I don't remember how that happened.
I tried explaining this to a friend a couple days ago, and I completely butchered it. But anyways, let me have another crack at it. So basically, in Infinity War, obviously she dies. In Endgame, all the characters travel back in time, and one of the places they travel back in time to is 2014, or before the Guardians actually meet each other. And at some point in Endgame, basically Thanos travels, from the past into the future, and they have their big final battle, and Thanos has literally no idea who the Avengers are, so what's the fucking point of having them fight that way? But whatever, that's Endgame's fault. And obviously for some reason, I guess Gamora just shows up in the future as well, and then she just kind of just walks around a little bit, says hi to Star-Lord, then fucks off. And
Kicks him in the nuts, also.
Right.
Can't forget that bit.
Well, I mean, she even in 2014, she was always like, she was still like turning on her father anyway, so it made sense that she would betray.
Okay, that's a good point.
She was already turning on him before the Guardians even meet her anyway, so.
Yeah, that's true. But even then, it's just I mean, at least in Endgame, it felt really contrived, the way they brought it back and whatnot. Like it felt like example number whatever of the writers basically writing themselves into a hole that they needed to quickly get themselves out of. But
I have a
Oh yeah.
No, I have another gripe about that. This is a bit of a tangent, right? But like, they make a whole thing in Endgame about like how they can't bring Black Widow back because it was she killed herself to get the Soul Stone or whatever. But then they did the exact same thing with Gamora, where like they went to the past and brought her back. Why couldn't they just do that?
Apparently, she was spared from Tony's snap because she had already changed sides by then, and the Soul Stone can interpret intentions. This is according to Screen Rant. This is fucking stupid.
Right. How?
But that's apparently the explanation. Yeah, that's how she survived. Because when Tony literally snapped, y'all, not.
It might be silly, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I'm just saying it's fucking stupid, but it's Marvel. It's comics.
Like I said, she wasn't hurt. She never had allegiance to him. She was always thinking of betraying him. She just couldn't.
Right. I mean, yeah, she
never really had allegiance.
Nebula had been tortured for a long time.
Yeah.
It reminds me of how in what I think one of the writers for Endgame or whatever, they said that the reason Captain America only briefly picked up the hammer in Age of Ultron was because he didn't want to hurt Thor's feelings. Like, he could pick the hammer up at that time, but he just didn't because he didn't want to hurt Thor's feelings.
Well,
like instead of something,
yeah.
instead of saying something like, oh, well, like, you know, he wasn't fully worthy at that time until, like, you know, like he had his character.
Yeah, he
arc.
was
Like, no,
only
just
he was
give
only
it-
75.2% worthy. You know, it just wasn't the whole way
he
there.
just-
I think it's
exactly, but no,
Yeah,
didn't want to hurt his feelings. I just find that really funny.
Yeah.
But I'm unloading all my other grievances with
there's
the
more.
MCU.
I think
at
there's more.
the moment.
I think.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, more concretely, I mean, so I saw the movie. I think I'm the person who saw the movie the most recently. I saw it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was excellent. I thought it was, for me, it was on par with No Way Home. The exact opposite feeling. Like No Way Home leaves you incredibly depressed and sad, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 leaves you like, you know, mostly upbeat and cheery. You know, like it kind of sucks that Gamora and Star-Lord don't get back together. But on the other hand, it's like whatever. They kind of move on too. So it's like it's not a big deal.
I mean, No Way Home was depressing until like I thought the ending was like exciting. Like I thought it was.
Well, it's exciting from a narrative standpoint, but you can't argue that it's not fucking depressing as well.
I mean, this movie was. This
everybody.
movie was super depressing. I mean, this movie was like probably the darkest movie in the MCU. Like this movie,
right?
was
But
super dark.
it has a happy ending, is what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying, but
No Way
Spider-Man
Home.
had a pretty optimistic ending, even though he lost everybody. Like he's still like it had a hopeful, like this is the Spider-Man we all know. Like,
I mean,
it was cheerful.
Yeah.
It had a cheerful.
I don't agree with that, but that's fine.
It had a cheerful like theme at the end. Like it was. Like, this is your friendly
right,
neighborhood
but
Spider-Man.
it's hope in spite of really awful, shitty
I'm not
things.
saying-
I don't think that makes it like a happy ending.
I don't think it's
that makes
happy,
it, like,
I
kind
just-
of like a mixed ending.
I think bittersweet is probably the better way to say it.
Yeah,
Sure,
bittersweet.
bittersweet.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah,
bittersweet's
But
accurate.
this wasn't bittersweet. This was way more upbeat.
No, this is
than
a happy
No Way Home.
ending.
That was my
No,
point.
yeah, this
yes,
is a happy
that was my
ending.
point.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. So
Anyway, so yeah, Mitch saw the film before I did.
Yes.
And what you said was, one of the things you said was, I can't believe some of the stuff that James Gunn got away with in this film.
This movie could be
And
rated R.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize what you meant by that was actually giving his characters depth and
That too.
that kind of thing. But yeah, so like, I mean, I'm harsh on these films. I mean, I enjoy them, but I'm harsher than most probably on superhero films in general. But this is the first MCU film that I've given 5 out of 5 stars.
Ooh.
The
It
first?
was-
What did you give two?
that was actually before I had started rating films, but
Oh,
I
okay.
wouldn't have given it 5 because
Okay,
it's
yeah.
it's one of my favorites, but there are issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it was huge, and I think one of the things that I noticed when I was seeing it was the fact that like they use animal cruelty a lot to kind of tug on your heartstrings, but I feel like the way they do it, it doesn't, like, it's so easy with animal cruelty as a topic to make it feel exploitative and like as just a cheap way of getting some tears out. But in this, it really feels like it doesn't feel like the emotions that you're getting while watching it come from, oh no, they're hurting this adorable animal. Like, it feels like the emotions that you're getting, or for me at least anyway, are from, you know, empathizing
Characters.
with Rocket and
Yeah.
how he's experiencing this trauma, right? Like, you're empathizing with him as a character, not as an adorable animal, right?
well, and it also retroactively justifies Rocket joining the group in Guardians, right? Because it makes you realize, oh, he had this dream of going off into space and being with his friends, and that's what Guardians of the Galaxy is for Rocket, right? It's a way for him to
There's-
fulfill that dream without having those friends.
There's that, and there's also I forget, like, you know, the line in its entirety, but like there's the scene in the first Guardians movie where, you know, like he's getting drunk and he's like, you know, it's like, well, I didn't ask to get made, I didn't ask to be torn apart and put back together. And then, you know, it's like she called me rodent, he called me freak, and it's like you know, at the time it's like, you know, it's like, okay, there's something there, but it's like when you see Guardians 3 and know the full backstory, it's like, oh, holy shit. you know, like it's
sure.
I don't want to say that James Gunn had it everything down to like the littlest detail planned out, like back a decade ago, but it feels like that. Like it feels like that, and it. Yeah, sorry, you go.
Sure, it's interesting because with the third film, I think because I've gone down a rabbit hole of interviews and stuff after watching the film on YouTube, but he said that for the third film at least he did have some kind of a plan for it, but that had to be adjusted after like Endgame and stuff because there were places that the Russo brothers wanted to take those characters and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about the High Evolutionary in terms of like MCU villains? Like I think he's really high up. Like that cold ass line where he's like, God does not exist, so I had to step in. Like that. Yeah. Even when I heard, like, I got almost no spoilers at all on the movie. The only thing I knew that was happening was a lot of it was about Rocket, and there was a lot of like VFX animal cruelty stuff. And that's all I knew about it. And so when I heard that line, even in the theater, I was like, oh shit, like that is such a good line.
It's one of those lines that's like you experience for the first time in a theater, like completely blind, and it's like you just know that people are going to be talking about it for like weeks on like Twitter and social media and stuff.
Such a good line.
It's one of those lines. I think he's not like a I think like even like I'd say Thanos and Ego and Killmonger, like that they have greater depth to them,
and Loki,
but I feel like High Evolutionary, and Loki especially, but I feel like he's definitely the most devious, or like one of the most devious villains in the MCU. Like he's one where it's like I can't wait to get his shit kicked in.
Yes.
Yeah. He's not as fleshed out as some of those other villains, but
he doesn't have to be.
Exactly, because I think he serves the story in an appropriate way.
Yes, agreed. I also think his costume is just fucking cool too. Well, his face thing that he's got going on.
His RoboCop faces, the makeup and stuff there is absolutely fantastic.
Really good.
Something I did notice though is that I definitely got what you call it, like kind of abusive father vibes from him. Like I think that the biggest scene in that was obviously the one where he's just like stumbling in delirious or drunk or whatever into Rocket and basically just like kind of grabbing him out of his cage and just rambling on about stuff and just acting delirious. Like that scene definitely gave me vibes of like as someone who's had similar experiences like with their mum, it's like definitely gave me vibes of like parents who have a substance abuse issue and kind of the trauma and experiences that relate to that. And it's like obviously it makes if you consider in the greater span of the MCU and all that, it matches with the Guardians movies. It matches up with Star-Lord because obviously he had Ego in the last movie. It was a whole other can of worms.
Matches up with Gamora and Nebula.
Exactly, and it's like it really, like I guess if we get some continuation of the Guardians, which I hope we don't anytime soon, but if we do, the next one whose parental issues we have to explore next is Groot, obviously.
Obviously, I mean I would think I'm glad that Drax. A lot of the story about Drax, is him being a better father than other fathers, and I'm glad that he finally got to do that. I love Drax so much. He's like one of my favorite characters. I still quote that line where classic line from the first Guardians where he's like, I would not miss a joke, I would catch it. Like nothing goes over my head, I would catch it. It's just such a classic. Like any autistic person would say that. Like that is just such a classic like the thing that is so autistic coded for me. It's really good. I love him as a character.
I honestly feel bad that what's his face, Dave Bautista doesn't seem to it's like, especially I mean mainly because of how the Russo brothers and everyone else treated him for just so many years from like Infinity War and Endgame and all that he feels that he can't really take Drax seriously as a role anymore. You know, that like he's gone to work with like, you know, Denis Villeneuve, however the fuck you say his name, with like Dune and Blade Runner, and like, you know, he's taking on all these serious projects and doesn't really consider Drax to be one, which is such a shame because, you know, like even though he is, and like the movie, you know, basically just outright says this, that like even though he is, you know, like a goofy, you know, probably the goofiest character out of the bunch, there's a lot of, you know, like kind of heart and depth to his character that just completely
Dave
goes
Bautista gives us all to he's having a fucking blast during this movie. Like, you can tell, like, that man is living his best life during the filming.
For sure. But I just feel bad that's like, you know, in some interviews, at least over the past couple of years, he's just talked about how, you know, like he gives me the vibe that like he doesn't seem to take Drax, or, you know, feels that Drax isn't taken seriously enough, and that, you know, his character's been kind of seen as just like the comedic relief, other than you know, actually having something to offer character wise. And the movie directly addresses that, which is great. But it's like, I just feel so bad because, and this kind of gets on to my next point, it's just insane the contrast in like writing quality and like character depth between when James Gunn is writing these characters and when the Russos or even Taika Waititi are writing these guys. Like, I also, you know, like I think basically everyone, you know, in some way or another, has basically accepted Love and Thunder as non-canon, at least for the Guardians, just because like nothing there matches up whatsoever with this movie, and it goes completely unmentioned. But like it's any, like, all of the depth, and like, you know, whenever say Star-Lord and Rocket would be bickering or arguing in the first two Guardians movies, there was like thought behind it, you know, like there was a clear intention with character and story. Now though, you know, like in Infinity War and Endgame, it just felt like, you know, that for the sake of jokes rather than actual, you know, saying something about the character.
I mean, I love the stuff that they do. Watching this made me want to replay on the PS5 the Guardians of the Galaxy, our game of the year, by the way, from a couple of years ago, I think, or maybe last year.
I keep forgetting we landed on that for game of the year.
But anyway, but anyway, I mean, look at how they treated Drax. I mean, those flashbacks with his kid and his wife, and the stuff with Thanos. I mean, it's so fucking good. Like, they definitely could treat Drax more than just a humor character. And like you said, they did definitely address that with him and Mantis and stuff like that, and their relationship. I thought that was brilliant. But yeah, I mean, it sucks because Dave Bautista's having the fucking time of his life, and honestly, I would argue probably one of the best wrestler turned actors right now, if not the best.
He is, like, him and John Cena are like,
him and John Cena are both
neck and neck at this point.
They're both of them are so talented.
And both of them, known as a good actor? Have you seen Peacemaker? Like, he's not widely known as a good actor, but like he's been acting Peacemaker. He has.
I mean, it's a niche category.
He's been acting for 27 years. So,
but no, I thought he was excellent in Suicide Squad, and then I've heard nothing but good things in Peacemaker. So that's mostly what I'm talking about. His earlier stuff with the WWE
and the funny thing is,
shit like that, obviously was terrible.
The funny thing is, this movie is just like everybody from Peacemaker is in this movie, so it's kind of funny seeing everybody in different roles. James Gunn always brings his friends in every movie.
Have you not seen Peacemaker, James?
No, I never bothered with it.
Oh, it's really good.
Absolutely. You have to go watch it. You have.
Ironically, I haven't either. I don't have HBO Max yet.
It came out at a time where
Max
I was just really done with DC
I
stuff.
refuse to call it that. I will never call it that.
It's like, I think Peacemaker, like, it's, I wouldn't say it's peak James Gunn, because like I feel like, you know, as great as, like, the final couple episodes have some like all-time James Gunn type of moments there, but I feel like, and as great as those moments are, I definitely think there are moments where like the humor just gets really obnoxious and drawn out. Like, it's, you know, kind of like some of my least favorite James Gunn type stuff, where it's just like, you know, relies more so on obscenities and just, you know, like Peacemaker just saying like weird out there shit about other DC heroes. Like, talks about how like one of the jokes is how I think he says Green Arrow is a furry, or like goes to like My Little Pony conventions or some shit. Like it's like that's the kind of humor the show has at times. But there's there's a certain scene later on in the show, like I won't spoil like what happens in it, where like Peacemaker kills someone, and just the reaction and like kind of the like the acting he has is really well done. Like you can tell that he's got some really good acting chops in him.
Okay.
In him.
Who's
I'll take your
Cena?
word for it.
And highly recommend it. Yeah, Cena.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen The Marine? It's amazing. Oh.
Yeah, his early stuff isn't good. We all know that, but that's also WWE videos. They didn't do anything.
I know, I'm
good.
kidding. But
How does he?
Peacemaker is fantastic. Like Vigilante is like the best character in that show. I love that.
Oh yeah,
He's so-
Vigilante is
I'm,
fantastic.
no,
He's
hang
so
on,
good.
I think Baldy's the best personally. But.
I'm a little confused though. How does he work as an actor if you can't even see him? Is that not crucial?
That's just how good he is.
It's
That's
the
just how
filter on
good
the
he is.
camera. They can capture him on the camera.
They use
That's crazy.
CGI to recreate
How
him.
far technology has come.
Yeah, it's all green screen. He's not really.
He's not really there, of course.
But what was I gonna say? Is, what do you guys think about? Well, actually, before I say that, I also knew about the Lila stuff because I was also thinking of the Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy game because they actually did that whole storyline in that game, and she dies in that as well. So I kind of had, and that's in the comic books too. So I kind of had an idea what was gonna happen. But
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you expect them to die, but at the same time, like you're still surprised when they do. Or at least like the way they did it in this movie, like like I wasn't expecting it to be so sudden
and dark. I mean, you can see the bodies like of all
yeah.
the friends, like their corpses.
Yeah.
Literally.
And that's the scene.
exactly.
Look, that is the scene where Lila dies, right? That I'm talking about when I talk about the animal cruelty kind of thing, because you know she gets shot, and I don't know if you guys were the same, but like for me anyway. She got shot, and I'm not thinking, "Oh no, the cute animal's dying." I'm looking at Rocket, and I'm thinking, like, how is he taking this? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
what is this doing inside his head? And that's what's getting at me,
Yeah, 100%. I've said it in a couple Discords before, anyways, but it's like I've never heard people loud sob inside a movie theater before until that scene in the movie. Like there was at least like 2 or 3 people, like in the rows behind me, where I could hear them just sobbing like loudly into their palms in that moment, and I'm like, holy shit, Yeah, it like that scene just like I could not get that scene out of my head for days afterwards, honestly. Like it's fantastic, but it's also a terrible scene and how tragic it is.
I mean, this movie's really dark. I mean, like the whole planet of animal people got like killed. Like there's a mass genocide in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that the first genocide they've done in the MCU? Surely not.
I mean,
in Infinity War, it's implied that Thanos.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't Thanos like basically a genocide?
Yeah, he's killed half the universe.
That's only he does half. I mean, maybe there's like some planet in the galaxy where they get
half a side.
Everyone gets
but
wiped out,
even if you exclude the snap, like it shows like Thanos conquering a planet and killing like half the population.
Yeah.
But even before he has Infinity Gauntlet.
I mean, that's still genocide anyway. I mean,
but this movie,
I don't know, genocide versus annihilation.
But this movie actually like focuses on it, like people straight up dying. Like so, this movie was really dark. But I was gonna ask you guys, like, how did you guys feel about Adam Warlock? Because I know I feel like the most mixed opinions has been about Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Some people have loved him, and then some people like.
Did he get paid?
I
hope he got paid this time, guys. He better have gotten paid.
You know what? I gotta give it to Will Poulter because he's people always know him as they always know him as the eyebrow kid and in Narnia and stuff, and he's always had a bad rep of being like the bully in the movies, and I'm glad that he's actually getting a lot more roles.
Yeah,
he's actually.
I was indifferent to him. Like I don't think he was. He wasn't the main attraction to the story.
Well,
He was just
No.
kind of
Yeah.
there a lot of the time.
but that's the thing is like Adam Warlock is a
I just
major.
thought he was a fun. I thought he was a fun character. I think what bothered me, and I saw other people tweeting about this, is people were like complaining about like how depowered he is. And it's like he's a fucking C-list villain who has A-list powers. Like he's not supposed to be the main antagonist, right? He's not serious enough, and he's not
Well-
committed enough to evil.
I mean, in the comic books, Adam Warlock is a major character. He's the main person that fights Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. Like he's the main.
Right. But he's
Character of
not.
that
He's
story.
always kind of like a. The impression I got, at least, is in a lot of the depictions of him is he's kind of a not a joke character, but he's not completely serious either. He's not as serious as like another I don't know, Gamora or something like that.
I mean, I'm not super familiar with Adam Warlock. I read comics I've read. He was serious, but
Yeah.
I haven't read enough.
How
to
was
say.
he? How was he in the video game? I forget because wasn't he in the video game too?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was bad. I think.
He's I mean, he was like he was good guy, but was corrupted, or like
Yeah.
had the soul stone that corrupted him. I mean, I definitely think I liked his design in the game more, but like that like they're going for two different things here. I found him fine in the movie. Like it definitely felt like I mean, I can't say for sure, but like it definitely feels like James Gunn was like, leaving the way for the Russos to basically was just giving Russos a freebie with Adam Warlock for them to use in Infinity War or Endgame.
He's actually
but they had their own what were you gonna
another fact from my interview hunt.
say? Yes.
James Gunn's actually wanted to have Adam Warlock, I think, since the first movie.
I mean, they were hinting him as early as the first movie, yeah.
Were they hinting him at it? Because he was teased at the end. He was teased at the end of the second film.
I mean, it was done differently, but in Guardians 1, in the collector's whole thing, there was like a big cocoon thing in one of the glass cages that was,
Right,
I mean,
okay.
everyone kind of took to be Adam Warlock, and then like in the post-credit scene where like everything was destroyed, the cocoon was shown to be hatched. But then obviously that was, I mean, since that was neither confirmed nor denied, it was like, retconned into the end of the second one where they were properly doing it that time.
I'll just say on Adam Warlock. So my favorite contribution that he has to this film is the opening scene.
Yes.
Like
Yes, so good.
and it's not
that
necessarily
whole fight
like
rules.
yeah, like it's not even necessarily him being part of that scene. It's just that scene in general. Like there's something about it. I don't know if it's just like the brutality of opening one of these films where the heroes get demolished like that and like have to pick themselves back up.
I just adored the opening scene, like because it set the tone quicker than I think any of these movies ever have before, where it's like, okay, I immediately get the stakes, like immediately gets the ball rolling, basically just get right into it and then go, okay, I know the stakes, and then we can like we don't have to worry about setting up like all these characters, or like
I think what's so impressive
and having some long elaborate thing, just basically having just like, rockets dying, we need to get this stuff, let's go.
I think what's so impressive for me, and I'm not sure if y'all bid on this too, if y'all like fell for it, I legitimately thought when we're like about 3/4 way through the movie, I legitimately thought for a second they killed Rocket. And I don't know how I bid on that. Like it seems so obvious that they wouldn't, but like I think it's like in wrestling, like there was like a strong 1% of me was like, holy shit, did they just kill Rocket? And then like the rest of me is like, no, they wouldn't do that. But also it's like the end of the trilogy. They can kind of James Gunn can do whatever the fuck he wants. So it's like he could have killed him.
I thought
they were gonna
go ahead.
I thought they were gonna do that as well. And part of me kind of hoped, in a sick way, I suppose, that they
part
would.
Of you.
I'm happy they
just because
did
of how
not,
that
though.
would have been kind of impactful. But like they do the same thing at the start of the film, and I'm not entirely sure how he does it, how James Gunn kind of does it. But like at the start of the film, that first fight that breaks out, it immediately, like Mitch was saying, it immediately sets up the tone because something about the way that that is shot. And you know, usually if a character gets hurt in one of these films, you think, oh, they're going to be fine. They'll get up in the next, whatever. But like, Drax gets pretty seriously hurt in that first fight, and part of me is thinking, are they going to kill off Drax in the first 5 minutes of this film?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I don't know.
I'm glad that they kept Rocket alive, because I thought it would have been more cliche to kill him off, because that's like that's what everybody was expecting, and I always hate when movies or shows and movies always go for like a character death to move everybody forward. Rather, I thought it was better just to give I thought it was a great move to give Rocket the Guardians as the leader and have him do his own adventures instead of just cliche killing him off.
I'm not mad about it. Like, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But I actually, in contrast to that, I feel like killing him off would have been the more daring thing to do, because superhero films in general are kind of known for not being able to kill off their characters.
I generally agree, but I think that's cliche. Like, I feel like because you superhero movies don't kill off characters, people feel like they have to kill off the characters, then it becomes like a cliche. Yeah. That's what happened. That's what happened that's what happened with the Batman vs Superman, I thought.
That, and I think, even like just looking within Marvel themselves, they kind of set this precedent or idea that, okay, we're building up to like the finale of something now, so therefore we have to kill people off. We have to kill someone off. Even though it's kind of funny how in Infinity War, literally all 3 of the characters who died in that movie, who died, ended up being brought back as early as like the next movie or next project, anyways. So
that's just how
it's like the Sons of Anarchy effect. Get to the last season,
comic books are always like that.
Yeah,
Superman's died 100 times.
Yeah, but like it set that precedent that like in order for something to have finality or consequence, someone has to die. And like I feel like James Gunn, smartly kind of, bucked that trend and basically went like, we're gonna have them all live at the end. And like I remember like leaving the theater thinking I think like literally everyone was expecting any one of the Guardians to die. Like, that just made sense. But like I remember leaving the theater and like I'm glad no one died. Like it, with the way the movie went, it would have felt maybe not necessarily cheap, but like it would have felt unfair for these characters who have been through so much to just not give them at least some form of happy ending.
That's what I was gonna say.
At least give them the chance to live on.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been it would have made the movie too bleak, and then it would have had a bleak ending, and it would just been too much. Like the happy ending fit the tone of. It was a nice contrast to the rest of the movie because they all suffered and then they got a happy ending. And I think this movie, even though the movie didn't kill anyone, it gave everybody a proper ending. It gave everybody closure.
Exactly.
Drax got to be a father again. Star-Lord got to go back on Earth. Rocket became the leader of a team with his own family. And Groot gets to be with Rocket, and Adam Warlock gets to be part of a family. So everybody and Gamora got to be a Ravager and do her own thing. She's not tied to Thanos anymore. So everybody got to do their own thing. So I always feel I just don't like when people when writers have to kill characters off just because just for the sake of it's the end or for the sake of moving everybody forward and using that as the plot device. Like I hate
exactly.
Yeah. But in this case, I think it was a really good idea to end the movie on a happy ending. I mean, obviously you kind of have to end Guardians on a happy ending. It fits the trilogy.
I mean, the last one ended on a death anyway, so not repetitive per se, but it's like it felt. Death. Yeah, exactly. It felt important for the story and the way everything.
The other thing that
especially since it's a trilogy, and the second movie should always have it. Usually in a trilogy, the second movie's going to end on a bleaker tone, and the third one's the finale.
The other thing that I just remembered as well is if they had killed off Rocket, they wouldn't have had that really nice moment. There was more character development for him after that.
Right.
Where, he goes into the ship and he finds all the raccoons and wants to save them all and all that kind of thing, and then you get the whole Noah's Ark thing, and it's...
Yeah. Well, that end he actually finally realizes, oh shit, I am a raccoon.
Yeah, right.
And then he says the line, and
I mean, that makes you make a good point that there would be no point even showing the flashbacks of Rocket if they just killed him off in the middle of the movie. Like the whole reason for developing showing all that backstory was to develop him as the leader of the Guardians. You know what I mean? Like it was all building up to him, like growing as a person, as a character. So, like I feel like killing him off wouldn't fit like the rest of the movie. I think
that's another thing that I found in my rabbit hole of interviews with James Gunn. Was that he was saying like part of his philosophy for making these films is like he hates when you have a series like this and every single movie they learn the same lesson that they learned in the last one. And like it's like a repeat. Like so what he wanted to do with these films is like every film the characters they learn something different. It's something they go on a different, like the arc is different, you know, they learn different things and it's like there's more of a development over time.
And that's what, you know, I kind of like to just at least quickly or tangentially get back to what I said earlier. That's what makes me so excited about the future of the DC movies is that he, and everything else he's said in, you know, interviews regarding it, is that he seems to, you know, at least what he's saying is that he, you know, he's going to respect the actual creative process for these movies and not just, you know, in talking about, you know, like delaying a movie if the script isn't good enough or, you know, like kind of like waiting to get things right rather than just pushing things out month after month after month is really, you know, like letting movies speak for themselves and like actually build stories around characters that have lasting impact rather than what Marvel is doing nowadays. Like it's honestly just kind of incredible. Like, you know, like one of the smaller directors in the MCU is just absolutely blown up over the past
and they fired
few years.
him. We almost didn't get this.
They
movie.
did, yeah, which is insane.
I agree with you because like my thing with the MCU, a lot of the MCU is like it's way more focused on plot than it is on characters, and like so if you've got this, I mean, you got this whole thing for years where it's like Marvel versus DC and like who's got the better cinematic universe and everything. But like now, you've got that toss-up. James Gunn in charge. We might start to see, you know, this Marvel universe where they're more focused on plot, and then this DC universe where you've got all these films focused on characters and character arcs and like relatable characters and all, you know, everything, all this kind of cool stuff. So like, there's a lot of potential there.
I just hope I just hope we get like a heroic Superman. I'm so tired of dark, brooding Superman. He hates everybody. Wants to take over the world. I'm so tired of evil Superman. It's been so overdone. It's been so overdone for 20 years now.
I think you're gonna get that because, again, from the interviews, James Gunn is a big fan of the old campy kind of.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, like the Christopher Reeves
films.
The Christopher Reeves Superman movies are my favorite. Like that's the Superman I want. Like I want Boy Scout boring. I thought Captain America was the best Superman we got.
I mean, he's literally referenced All-Star Superman, one of the very few Superman comics I really like besides Elseworld stuff. And it just, I mean, All-Star Superman from, I believe, Grant Morrison and Frank Whiteley is like so good. It's everything you want in a Superman comic, in one graphic novel. It's so good. And he's basing it on that comic, which is like widely beloved.
Yeah, because Superman should be a symbol of hope, and you know, like Men of Steel kind of hit on that, and then they went for 9/11 imagery for 25 minutes, but
I think like it's to like briefly say that it's like something I read about because the guy who wrote the, you know, Zack Snyder's Justice League was different than, you know, whoever wrote BVS and Man of Steel, and something I saw them hit on is the fact that, you know, even the writer for Justice League, he wasn't entirely a fan of, like, you know, the darker Superman route and like the darker Batman route, but what he really wanted to do with Justice League was kind of like course correction maybe isn't the best word, but it's like, you know, kind of like allow these characters to grow and lay the groundwork for them to really evolve into, like, you know, more comic accurate or like more beloved versions of themselves in future movies. Obviously, we didn't get that, and I can't say whether that would have landed properly or not.
I mean,
but
the contrast didn't fit like the Justice League. I mean, they're trying to make Superman like a heroic, happy, smiling, making jokes. Superman did not fit what they established like at all. So,
I mean, obviously in the Joss Whedon version, yeah, like it was completely.
Well, in the director's cut, yeah, it's
like,
different. It's different, but
yeah. In the director's cut, like at least like the movie makes a point to establish the fact that like obviously with death he's changed, and like, even then I really loved Ben Affleck Batman's arc in that movie, where it's like he went from basic, like in BVS obviously he had the it's like if he's even like a 1% chance of killing everyone, we have to take that as an absolute certainty, like all that stuff, to by the end of Justice League basically just operating on faith in like Superman, and like sort of believing that things will end up okay.
There's some cool lines like where like what's your superpower? I'm rich.
I'm rich.
That's great.
Yeah. Or I think one of my favorite lines, and that like I don't even use just for like Batman related stuff, but for like just other things in general in life, is like Cyborg asks him, is like like I didn't think, he's like, so you're the Batman, or like whatever. It's like, I didn't think you were real, and then he responds, I'm real when it's useful.
Yeah.
Like lines like that. It's like like at least like the writer for Justice League, they had some fun with it, as opposed to some of the early experiences. I love all three of the movies, but I think Justice League was really the one that kind of cemented for me the fact that, okay, even if it wasn't the intention the whole time, I liked where they ended up going. But anyways, I really need to find another soapbox to talk about the Snyder movies about another time. So
we can always do a discussion topic when it's slow.
Yeah, 100%.
Although,
at least I think when
although it won't be next month because next month is stacked.
Yeah, I have a feeling
Probably
when
July.
the Flash movie eventually comes out and they properly start to reboot or relaunch the DC movie universe, there are going to be quite a few discussions about it, especially since we're getting like Ben Affleck Batman and whatnot in it.
Even though I have problems with Ezra Miller, I do think it's a good idea to do a Flashpoint to reboot the whole universe.
Even I think it's one of those with everything that's happened, it definitely feels like one of those happy little accidents that like happened just in time for James Gunn to take over. Because they've been working on the movie for like a decade at least at this point, I feel like.
But I'm with you that I with you guys. I'm excited about the DC universe, like the new universe. Like DC has such a great universe, like arguably better than Marvel. But I like Marvel better just because I grew up with Marvel more. But I grew up with the TV shows and everything, like Justice League Unlimited and stuff, and like that's what I want to see on the big screen. I want to see, I just want to see. I just don't want to see. I'm just tired of. I just don't want dark and brooding DC anymore. Like I want that too. I just don't want only that. Like I don't want Teen Titans just to be always swearing and fuck Batman.
Oh god.
I don't want. Everybody was just miserable. Like
I still
watching those
remember that
movies.
commercial, fuck Batman. I'm like, okay.
I remember the internet just exploding over that.
They can't help them. Like even the Shazam movies, like they're fun and lighthearted, and then there's a shitload of dark moments in both movies, like a shitload. So it's like I want Marvel to go more dark a little bit more, but I want DC to go a little more lighthearted. Like everybody's kind of going in two different contrasts, and cause I think Phase 4 of Marvel went too much in the comedy route, especially with Love and Thunder and stuff. Like I didn't hate that movie, but I thought like I thought the director just went like. He was just trying too hard to be funny. Because now he's becoming known as the comedic director. Although I don't want people are dismissing him as a director. Like he's made some fantastic comedies. Like
he has,
and Jojo Rabbit as well. I think is like easily his best movie, and that gets dark by the end. Like it.
Right.
Like still very comedic overall, but it's like it actually deals with some heavy topics that. You just wouldn't imagine him doing that from his two Marvel movies. Right.
So we'll see. We'll see what Phase 5 shows for Marvel, and we'll see what the future is for DC. Competition is always good for the industry, or any industry, really. All right.
Just just to quickly leave it off with as well. I think a fear I had with Marvel, post Endgame, and that I feel like is coming to fruition, is that because obviously they phased out the classic Captain America and like, well, just like, feels weird to say classic Cap. Anyways, like they phased out Steve Rogers, and they phased out Tony Stark, and they phased out like the core or original Avengers team. That over time they try to find replacements to those characters, but like they never really live up to them.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's like, how long can the MCU as it is go for until they just decide to, hey, let's reboot the whole thing again and bring back, like sort of Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Tony Stark and all that stuff.
I don't see that.
Because I depending on how it goes post Secret Wars and stuff, I absolutely see them bringing back some versions of those characters. Obviously not, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., but versions, just because they're the ones that one needs to have an attachment to. But the exciting thing about new DC is that we're getting versions of these classic characters again.
I think that'd be a mistake.
Anyway.
I mean, for DC that they have to, but Marvel, I think that's a huge. I think it's a huge mistake to bring Tony Stark or Steve Rogers back. I think that would be even if it's a different actor. I don't know. Like they already established. We got Ironheart, and we got Falcon as Captain America. Like, there's no reason to bring them back.
I mean, I'd be talking like 5-10 years in the future, but it's like it feels like a certainty at this point. Like I don't see, at least in the Marvel, like in the movies, I see no version where they bring back at least some version of those classic characters, just because that seems to be the cycle there nowadays, where it's like, okay, they're slowly phasing in old faces and old characters that people remember because like it feeds on their nostalgia, and it's like, they're finally,
for a one-off movie,
Marvel's finally good again, like all that crowd and stuff.
Phase 4, I think Phase 4 has I won't go on a tangent, but Phase 4 just got too much of a bad rep. I think Phase 4 focused too much on building a new universe, and a lot of movies were just like building, and not enough, as James said, not enough focus on characters. It was all about plot, because they had to establish everything. I think Phase 5 is going to be stronger now because we've gotten like a new core actors and characters that maybe now we can finally get back on track and have more character-driven stories. Sure. But we'll see. I don't know. But Phase 4 has some great movies. I don't know. People think it's like every movie's been trash. Yeah. Like, I don't. Black Panther 2 was great. I thought Spider-Man No Way Home was great, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was great.
I liked Eternals. Like, I didn't love it, but I liked
it. It was alright. Like, I didn't hate it.
I think the issue with Phase 4 is that like it did do a bunch of building, but it did a bunch of building like everyone was building different things
at the same time. There was nothing was coherent at all.
Like we learned about how they're like in Eternals, how there were Celestials and like basically gods. But then in Moon Knight we found out that no, actually we've got we've got Greek gods and Egyptian gods and all these other types of gods. And then in Miss Marvel we find out that there's this ancient celestial race from an alternate dimension or something, and somehow they have something to do with history. Yeah. And it's like all of these different things. There seems to be no clean fit.
Yeah, I think the ultimate problem with together. I don't want to cut you off, James, but I think
and Golden Thunder as well.
For our listeners' point, I think the ultimate problem with Phase 4 was establishing a multiverse, and they were just shoving so many ideas at the same time, like the Doctor Strange movie just felt like, oh, let's just do cameos. Oh, here's Mr. Fantastic. Here's the X-Men. It was everything. It's just been too much. Like you said, you got like Moon Knight stuff, lore, and then you got they've been working on the Blade stuff until we got vampire shit now, and then the Eternals, and then you got Ironheart, and then you got now we have like Atlanteans, and it's like
exactly. I mean, like to what he said, I don't think the issue is the fact that they introduced a multiverse. I think the issue is that they introduced a multiverse that aren't using it to help supplement all of this different world building ideas they have. Like they're still just focusing on the Earth 616 or whatever the hell they're calling it. Like they're not, because like they have all these different projects and different laws and stuff, but they're not. They're just keeping them in the one spot. It just feels limiting by giving them so much freedom, ironically enough.
I'm just saying it's been a jumbled mess. So
it is
with that. All right,
it bums me out. Sorry, Steve.
Go ahead.
It bums me out that we finally got the first Scottish superhero, and everyone hates that movie.
I just kind of liked it.
You are apart from
But
Mitch.
yeah,
I just want to
Apart
say,
from Mitch.
last thing I want to say about Guardians of the Galaxy, the most important storyline that got wrapped up is that Cosmo is a good dog. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to my TED
Sure.
Talk.
Hey guys, we should talk about films more often.
We
Maybe.
should.
I mean, we've been on shows and movies several times, but not like we fit it in a
It's not
Yeah.
lot.
consistent.
Depth. Yeah.
But,
not
I mean,
this
we
depth.
mainly do like comic book, like video game, movie those because it's kind of weird to do like talk about PlayStation and then talk about like some indie French film that won an
It's
Oscar.
true.
It just
What
doesn't
if
fit.
What if I told you that Paul Mescal plays a superhero in After Sun? Would you talk about it then?
Sure.
It's not true,
I mean-
but maybe we can.
Although, one thing I disagree with you guys is
Right
peak James Gunn is not Guardians of the Galaxy. It is Scooby Doo. Oh, and on that, no.
I won't
I
disagree with that.
Peak Scooby Doo.
I-
Peak James Gunn is Scooby Doo too.
I will not disagree with that.
Release the R-rated cut, you cowards.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys ever saw Slither, but that's also
I
fantastic.
gotta rewatch
No.
James
Slither.
Gunn
It's
movie.
been a long time since I've seen Slither.
It's
I gotta
so
rewatch it.
nasty, and it's amazing. The
Didn't
same
James
actors.
Gunn only-
too.
Didn't James Gunn only write Scooby Doo? They didn't direct it.
No, I think he just wrote it. I don't
Yeah.
think he directed it. But you can tell it's James
Still.
Gunn. It's a parody, so it's amazing. It's an amazing parody. It
I need to
doesn't
watch
get-
that film again.
Anyway, all right. Dory, did you want to say anything about Planet of Lana or briefly? Or...
I could briefly talk about it for a few minutes.
all right, then we'll talk about PlayStation Showcase after.
So we looked at Planet of Lana a while ago. It was coming to some consoles and PC and shit. I don't remember exactly what. But it's on Game Pass now. And I played the first couple of hours via walkthrough. I mean, if you know what you're doing, I'm basically like only the first hour in or first hour and a half or something. So, but I'm not good at puzzles. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to. I guess I could just briefly talk about my experience with it. I mean, I think it's a good thing and a bad thing that we're in this period where art direction and game design and environmental storytelling feels like, especially within indie games via games like Inside and Limbo, that they're getting more and more respected. But I also feel like that means you end up with games kind of like Planet of Lana, which unfortunately, after a couple of hours or so playing with it, I didn't find it very fun. It felt like every puzzle I'd ever seen before. The story didn't seem particularly compelling. I just didn't get enough from the characters. The art design's beautiful, don't get me wrong. I believe it's all hand-drawn and stuff like that. So it's gorgeous to look at. And, it's nice environment, stuff like that. It's all nature sounds. There's a little bit of a soundtrack, but it's very minimalistic and very low. It is a very chill game. It's one of those puzzle platformers that's very chill and will only take a few hours of your time. I got to a somewhat challenging puzzle and then I just kind of gave up because A, puzzles aren't really my thing, and B, I just didn't feel like the story was really driving me forward. I just didn't get enough of that environmental storytelling for me, or what I got, it didn't feel like it propelled me forward very much. So I think it's okay from what I played. I didn't play the whole thing, but I can't imagine the last 2 hours somehow dramatically shift it from what it is in the first 2 hours. I just felt kind of bored and kind of like just eh. I'm also not the biggest fan of Limbo or Inside. I know a lot of people think Inside is like one of the greatest indie games of all time and stuff like that. I'm not big into platformers or puzzle games, so it's a tough sell for me. That said, I still think Inside is a good game and has some really inventive writing, and the atmosphere is incredible. The last 30 minutes is really freaking cool. So there's some good stuff about it that I think has gotten it well-deserved praise. But yeah, Planet of Lana just feels like Inside or Limbo, but if it like with a palette swap, and it feels, I'm sure, I know the devs worked on this hard because on this game hard because it shows. It's a gorgeous game, but I just feel like gameplay-wise, it just feels like a copy-paste of Limbo or Inside, and it feels kind of boring because of that. Which I feel bad saying, right? But that's the truth. I think it just feels kind of mediocre. There's one of the reviews on the Game Pass app is something like a beautiful but middling platformer. I think that is exactly what this is. It's a beautiful game, but honestly would just rather have it as like an animated series or something rather than a video game. It just doesn't feel very interactive. You have these long periods where you're crouched under things and you just have to kind of keep moving and moving. And I understand that it's to build the atmosphere so you can really take in like the visuals and the minimalistic kind of soundscape. But it just feels a bit repetitive going from one area to another area. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about it, and most of what I have to say isn't like super positive, but it's not a bad game. And I think if you like Insider Limbo, or games like that, you'll probably enjoy Planet of Lana. I wanted to like it more, and I think obviously people should be supporting indie games and non-AAA games and all that stuff. But this one wasn't really for me. Platformers and puzzle games are such a hit or miss for me, which sucks. So,
should I be supporting Gollum?
You know what? I think you should because Gollum has great emojis that are available on Twitch that you can go check out. So,
Oh, really? No way.
no, but no.
See, I love Limbo and I love Inside, so I'll definitely probably enjoy this game. I have to be in the mood for like a platformer puzzle game. I've been playing Star Wars and I got the platinum today, so it's like I've been in the mood for like action type of games.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I haven't been playing much. I thought I'd be playing a lot more once school was done, but I haven't been playing much at all. Just mostly because I want to get back into streaming. I actually have an Xbox controller now, so I finally don't have to keep fucking around with my PS5 controller. So I got like a $40 Xbox controller. What
color did you get?
It's like white or something. It's pretty basic. But it's remappable. You can remap a couple of the buttons, so that's really cool. It's plastic, so I mean, I'm gonna try to make sure I don't get mad at any games. But
so it's not like an official like Microsoft.
No, I think it's like one of those like off-brand or sponsored by Xbox or something, whatever. Yeah. But it works. That's all I care about because I had to use like hide and I had to use like DS5 and all that stuff. And it's just a pain in the ass. And now I can just plug in the Xbox controller and I can play Planet of Lana and be disappointed. Yeah. So that's great.
One of the things I love about Xbox more than PlayStation is the controller variety. Like they have so many colors and you can customize your own controllers and all that. PlayStation doesn't have that. I mean, I bought the DualSense Edge and I absolutely love it. And it feels different than the regular controller. And it feels premium when you hold it and stuff. It's very nice, very, very nice. I don't think I'm going to use any other controller from now on now. I think this controller's that much better, but was it worth $200? No, but I don't regret buying it. But like I've been looking forward to this game. I thought like when it caught my eye at the showcase, I thought like, oh yeah, that reminds me
as well.
I just from what I see, it looks more like lighthearted, but now that I'm watching like gameplay, I'm seeing more like dark. Like caverns.
There are definitely dark themes. I mean, basically, the planet that Lana is on gets invaded by these robots, and her sister gets captured, and you have to go after her. And I mean, it's the most video game plot of all time.
Although it's not. I wonder if it's as messed up as Inside was. Cause
no, I don't. At least not in the couple hours I played it. The first couple hours I played, it wasn't. But I mean, obviously, I didn't get to the end because I got just kind of burnt out. I didn't really like it that much. I mean, it's okay, but it's not bad.
It seems like the general reaction is positive. I think it seems like people are really loving it. Or
I mean, it's difficult to assess at least on the Game Pass app because you can leave reviews without actually having played a game.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are just like, "Oh, this game is so woke" or whatever. I don't even know why. So review bombing happened with lots of 1 stars. So then other people started review bombing 5 stars, and now it's finally like gotten to the point where it's recalibrated itself, and some people are like giving 4s and 3s and being like, okay, like guys, can we calm down? Like this game's okay or it's good. It's wild. I don't know what the fuck happened, why people are upset about this game being quote unquote woke.
Does it have any female characters?
I guess because Lana's a female character and she's not a white person. I guess that's it. That's what makes the game woke now. Is
who cares?
I wish I was making this up.
Who cares what
I wish I was making this shit up.
But I haven't really seen much talk about this game. Like I usually
No, I haven't either.
Because I
didn't even know it came to Xbox Game Pass until you told me, and I was interested in this game. So.
Yeah, because once again, it goes back to my problem with Xbox. Their marketing, like you have a nice indie game, and they just put zero marketing into it. It's like I haven't seen anyone like my timeline is mostly hardcore gamers, and I have not seen any. Like usually people post like videos and screenshots of them playing something, or I have seen like nothing on this game besides from like hardcore Xbox guys. So
yeah. I mean, it wasn't too hard to find a walkthrough. So I mean, if you get stuck on the puzzles, you definitely could breeze through it in a couple hours. But the first time I got to a slightly challenging puzzle, I was like, you know what, I just don't care enough, and I just stopped playing.
Right. So like one of my problems with people in general, like the gamers in general, is like how easily they dismiss like indie games. It's like, and like when we had the PlayStation showcase, like we got a bunch of indie games that I was really hyped for, and people were like putting ZZZZZ and calling it filler, and I was like,
don't read the chat. Don't read the chat.
No, I saw it on Twitter, and I saw it all over the place. Like literally, that was the general consensus.
Even from big, like, Twitter personalities, like big people in the gaming space, like verified people, they were saying, like, I saw some of them were like, kind of saying that they were like, basically putting Z's in the chat, so to speak.
I mean,
are we talking about the showcase now, or?
Yeah. No, we don't have to like fully.
That was
we don't want to, but it's like I was just like agreeing with Seb. It's like, yeah.
Well, that was my transition to.
Okay, well, sorry to ruin your transition, but the thing is for me, I love indie games, right? Some of my favorite games ever have been indie games: Journey, Celeste, etc. But and like I love seeing them at these showcases, right? Great, especially if it's one that looks good to me. However, it's just a case of none of the indie games at this showcase looked that great to me, or looked like my kind of thing. And also, indie games are not gonna carry a showcase. Like, indie games are great to see at a showcase, but they're not the main attraction.
I mean, they only had a couple. I think I don't recall like.
I mean, they were like pretty much like the bulk of like the middle of the. I mean, like, sure, like, you had the Peace Walker announcement about, like,
yeah, I mean, I guess there was a it was a good amount of them, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like that. At least like the big chunk of them were indie titles, not like not necessarily like like very low budget indie games, but like like
they were like double A indie games, yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, because I saw a lot of people, who were disappointed, mention the fact that this is their first showcase in like 2 years, and obviously showcase as opposed to a state of play, because this felt like a state of play. This wasn't. That's the thing. Didn't feel so much like because I didn't even pick up on the wording change lingo thing. Like I was fully just expecting, okay, we'll probably get a couple like big AAA announcements like Spider-Man 2, like Metal Gear Solid, as it was rumored, but like the bulk of it being indie titles, I wasn't surprised by at all.
It's kind of it's a big kind of marketing and expectations kind of thing, because if this had been a title of state of play, it would have been good, maybe great. Like, it would have been really enjoyable, because, for a state of play, from what we've come to expect from those, this would have been great. But, like, this was a, break out the fine china, put the kids to bed early, PlayStation showcase. This was, 2 years of waiting. This is it, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've got, like, 3, 4, 5 PlayStation studios who haven't released a game in 2 or 3 years. Time to see what they're working on. So many things that could have been here that were not here. And like,
sure,
just everything was pointing to this being a huge deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't really blame anyone, in my opinion, for expecting it to be a big deal.
I mean, I'm going to keep it real simple, right? I wanted Spider-Man 2. I saw Spider-Man 2. I saw 10 minutes of Spider-Man 2. I am satisfied. Those were my expectations. And it's totally fair, by the way, if people had more expectations than that. But all I wanted was Spider-Man 2. And not only did I get Spider-Man 2, I thought I was going to get a minute or two. I got 5 times that baby. So I am happy. I am pleased. Now, I understand there's a lot of other games around Spider-Man 2 that are not necessarily yay, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I think Seb's actually got the list in order. But yeah, I'm satisfied simply because they showed Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. No, like I was just speaking in general about the indies. Just like I know they don't translate well in big showcases like this. It's just like people just like they always want variety with Sony and Xbox, and then like they don't support the variety. The general audience just wants every game to look like Spider-Man 2 the entire time.
And even when they do want it to look like Spider-Man 2, they'll then go on Twitter and shit about the water physics or something.
Exactly.
I'm not going to get into that. It's just people are stupid.
Yeah,
it's always the water. Right?
So I think
it's a Spider-Man game. Like, what's up with that?
I think people are justified in their disappointment in this showcase, but I also think gamers in general bitch about everything. All right, so let's go in order. So the very first thing they showed was Haven Studios' new game, Game Savers.
Wait, wasn't the very first thing they showed Jim Ryan, or was that second?
No, that was second.
No, that was second.
They showed
second.
They showed Fair Games first, didn't they?
Right, and then Jim Ryan.
They did.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, hot take. I think this. I know, like everybody thinks this game. The comments on YouTube are brutal. I think this game looks fun. I know it's a CGI trailer, and that sucks. And they should probably show gameplay. But I think it looks fun. I had fun with the Robin Hood game that came out a couple of years ago. I don't even remember what the fuck it was called.
Oh, that was them.
Yeah.
Who I remember. I remember. We made a bunch of fun about it. It was like Hood something.
Yes, Hood Outlaw.
Legends.
Yes,
that's it.
Whatever the fuck it was called. I had fun with that, and you know what? Absolutely. After a year, it stopped getting supported and it went away. But like, if I have a list of all the most toxic things that are trendy in the gaming field, honestly, a game being out for a year and then stop getting support. That's just how games used to be. So honestly, I'm not that phased. I don't care if this game dies after a year. I think it looks cool. And honestly, I'm always up for robbing the rich, even though, of course, Sony's a multi-billion corporation that's advocating for robbing the rich, but whatever.
No, I'm with you. Right?
Would you say you're riching the robbed?
So James, what were you gonna say?
No.
So I am.
Go.
I am with you, Dory. Like I in terms of multiplayer games, I much prefer one that is like it shines bright and then dies off. However, my issue with this game was not the fact that it was a CG trailer, although that didn't help it in any regard.
Sure.
My issue was that it looks like there's nothing to differentiate it from the hundreds of other games with this exact aesthetic. Like the first thing that popped into my mind immediately when the trailer started was Hyperscape, the failed Ubisoft Battle Royale game.
What was
it looks like a Ubisoft title. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Other than that, what's the game that like had the really big beta like a month or two ago that was like made by some ex-DICE devs that like has a bunch of the finals? Yeah, I thought it was the finals at first. Like
the thing is, the finals
to.
actually does have some intrigue to it, like some stuff to differentiate it and stand out. Like this,
it does
nothing to make it stand out. And that was my problem with not just this. And I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but like a lot of the trailers here had aesthetics that I've seen 100 times before and just did not stand out. And that was a big problem for me.
I do not like Ubisoft games, and Jade Raymond she's in charge of Haven, and she helped create Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs, and you can see the Ubisoft influence, which makes me very pessimistic about this game.
I saw something that says that like the Haven
clear.
devs worked on Rainbow Six Siege, which I mean, even though like not many people talk about it now, that had a really successful like sort of post-launch resurgence, like especially after the first year or two. So it's like, even if it launches badly, there's a chance they could bring it back. But I don't know, like obviously I haven't seen any gameplay of it. I'm not sure like what the final tone and whatnot is going to be like. But I don't want to say I get Saints Row vibes from it, but it's like, kind of Dory touched on it. Yeah, it's like it gives me vibes of like, you know, like white dudes in their 40s writing or like, you know, making like dialogue and concepts that are basically meant to be, you know, like people like, you know, basically Gen Z and millennials, you know, but like it's
yeah.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Dude,
where it's like the tone just does not fit at all, and it's
we're-
like it's like I get the intention, but you completely miss the mark.
We're once again, I don't know what these studios are like. There's no creativity anymore. I guess everybody has to do the same millennial haircut, and then there's jokes, and everybody's has the one liner.
Yeah.
It's the same nonsense.
And
I'm not saying
this
woke.
is,
I'm not going there, but I'm saying like it's
no,
just
no,
it's just generic.
Yeah.
Like it's just like this is what millennials are into. Like because the majority of gamers, I guess, are millennials. So let's all make them.
I need to see some avocado toast, and then I'm convinced.
Yeah,
Right.
like it's so overdone
And
now
this
at this
is-
point. It's so generic.
This is what we've got to look forward to because PlayStation is making a big push into live service games. So this is it. This is the future. I
Yeah.
hope you guys are excited.
I'm not
Yeah.
like. I just want to be clear. I ain't fucking touching this game with a 20-foot pole if it's more than $0. Like if this ain't free
Yeah.
to play, I'm not touching it. But if it's free to play, I'll at least try it because like I'm a sucker for heists. I love a good heist film.
I'd say
I love a good heist video game. There are not enough video games about stealing money from rich people, in my humble opinion. And
I'd say most people will try it if it's free to play,
Yeah.
at least in some.
I will try it if it's free to play. But
Yeah.
obviously, if it costs anything, I'm not playing. It looks generic as hell, and like Seb
Yeah.
says, it looks completely like white dudes in their 40s who think this is really edgy
Yeah.
and cool, right?
It's like
and
Borderlands
so,
3.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
it's
Borderlands
giving me-
3.
It's giving me that
Bullshit.
vibe.
Yeah,
So I want to be optimistic for this, but yeah, it'll probably be shit.
Even like just the dollar sign in the title like just makes me like
No, stop.
it ruins it.
it
for me.
it
It's
it,
just-
it reminds me of
it's just so
how
cheesy.
like when it reminds me of how when X Defiant was first revealed, they tried to go for like that same exact vibe, but then surprisingly, Ubisoft actually listened and said, "Hey, let's maybe not touch that, you know, because we'll fail either way." You know.
Yeah. So let's
Yeah.
let's move on now.
But anyway, that's fair games. Yeah.
all right. So
Yeah.
I'm
Jim
not.
Ryan.
Let's. Do we have to talk about the Jim Ryan thing or
No.
No.
okay?
Other than
No.
to say that I wish he would go
I'm surprised
away.
he's British. I'm surprised he's British.
I always forget that
English,
Jim Ryan,
English.
Mr. Man of Two First
English,
Names, is
same.
British.
PlayStation is very European, despite like everything being in America. It's like
Yeah.
You would think, like, their
and
headquarters-
Sony being a
Sony.
Japanese company.
yeah, they're a Japanese
Yeah.
company with European people in charge,
Fucking
and
weird.
their headquarters is in America.
He's just
What
the
the
wrong
fuck?
person to do this. Like, let him do the investor calls. You know, let him talk
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the
No, for sure.
shareholders
He's
or
so
whatever.
boring. His voice just puts me to sleep. I just want to hear him
Yeah,
read
you're right,
Goodnight Moon. Like I don't want to.
Even then, I really wouldn't give a shit if the showcase was better anyway. Like it's like 10 seconds. It's like whatever.
Yeah, no,
Right,
no,
but
for
like-
sure.
Yeah.
Between Jim Ryan and the boring transition slides, I'd rather look at the boring transition slides, to be honest.
I usually like these digital. I don't mind them if you do them correctly, but in this case, I think this would be better with a live show. Like this feels
Yes.
like the way they hyped it up with the spotlights and everything. Like
It's
this
so,
feels
like,
this feels like this should have been.
Sanitized and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
corporate and
We need like God of War E3 with like live orchestra and
It's-
shit.
it needs some flair.
Yeah,
we
God,
have
nothing.
It's so bland. Yeah. All right, so let's get
Nothing will ever top the God of War reveal. Nothing.
No,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yep. All right. And then Final Fantasy VII remake. Helldivers 2 was the next game they showed, which is a Sony first party game. They published it.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of dig it. I like the Starship Trooper vibe to it. It looks like a fun.
Yes.
I'm not expecting
God
anything.
damn it. I was using the search engine to figure out what the fuck it reminded me of, and I knew like I had already made this reference to somebody else that it was Starship Troopers.
I'm doing
but
my
yes,
part,
Starship
yeah.
Troopers.
But
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it looks like a fun game, like we could play like that. This game actually looks like a fun multiplayer, like with your friends. Like I'm not expecting anything like phenomenal, but it actually looks real. It looks like a quality like third person shooter. Like I'm not like it's probably gonna be like a 75 or 80 out of 100. But
Did any of us actually play the first Helldivers?
I didn't even know this was a series. I didn't even know this existed.
yes, but I don't
When I
really
saw the
remember.
Helldivers logo,
I thought this looked
I didn't
so-
even.
I
I didn't even
so
know the
annoyed.
first one came out.
I have the exact opposite reaction of the YouTube comments. Like, everybody for Fair Games shit on it. Everybody at Helldiver loves it. I think the complete opposite. This looks so generic and boring to me, and I would never want to play it. But everyone's like, "Oh my god, Helldivers 2!" And I'm like, "What the? Helldivers?"
The first game got an 81 on Metacritic, and it got a 9 out of 10 by IGN. So
I've never heard of it
come
before.
out?
So
2015.
Yeah. Oh,
Jesus
okay.
Christ.
That
Okay,
makes sense. I wasn't playing video games. I had no idea. 2015. Wow.
It's kind of in the niche AA space.
It's not a AAA series. Well, it's series now.
But I mean, still, I wasn't really paying attention to video games in 2015, so it makes sense why I have no idea that this thing even exists.
Okay, and it looks like it's like a top down, just not Twitch shooter, joystick shooter. So probably not my vibe
kind
in the
of
end anyways.
It's had a presence
it looks boring
on
to me.
Like it's been on PlayStation Plus and that kind of thing.
It kind of reminds me of like Lost Planet. If you guys ever played Lost Planet, like the vibe. No.
No, I'm familiar with that.
It's a Capcom 360 game. All right, let's move on to Immortals of Avium. I think it is
Avium. I think it's Avium.
It's Avium.
Oh yeah.
This looks fucking cool.
Avium sounds like a medicine, but anyway, this does look cool.
What was it? Godfall meets Ghostwire Tokyo, right?
Yeah, it definitely gave me Ghostwire Tokyo vibes with the hand signal.
Yeah.
You know. But
I think
my god,
kind of reminds me of Forspoken too.
Like with some of my fourth graders, I'm like, I know this is a tangent, but some of my fourth graders do some of the jutsus that they do in Naruto, and some of them are doing Shadow Clone, and then others are doing Sexy Jutsu, and I'm like, can you please stop? You're like literally 10. Oh my god, so uncomfortable. Meanwhile,
I have a Rasengan app on my phone.
Nice. But yeah, this looks really fucking cool. Unironically, like in without qualifiers, this looks really cool. I loved all the effects. It looks like a more focused Forspoken. I think. It could be. It could end up being generic as hell and not good. But like Godfall or whatever the fuck that game was. Godfall.
Yeah. I think that the one big thing it has over Ghostwire Tokyo already is that it looks a lot faster, because Ghostwire Tokyo, that game's biggest problem was just how slow and clunky it went.
It's also like an EA original.
And the 5 trillion collectibles.
Yeah. Oh my god! Don't even get me started.
4 words. Call of Duty developers.
In this one.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Really?
It looks.
It doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
It looks AAA. It looks high quality. It looks really, really fun. It looks like a first-person shooter, but like magic instead of guns, which is a really cool idea. It's actually not been done not that much.
I really like the idea of the one spell that has has all green bullets, and like it's a circle, so like you can see like where your how many bullets you have left as it goes. I think that's such ingenious like game design. Like that little thing really stuck out to me. I was like, that's cool as shit.
And that's where like my opinion starts changing from people, is the fact that like as a Sony showcase it was very bad, but as like a third party, like this is what I'm gonna buy on PS5 showcase.
It's an EA original too. I think we should point it out that it's an EA original, and EA has been fucking knocking it out of the park with a lot of their originals. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
So at this point, I'm like, okay, I got this Helldivers. I'm interested in this Immortals game. Now I'm interested, and then they show Ghost Runner, which I don't like Ghost Runner personally. But
yeah, I tried to vibe with it, but I couldn't.
It didn't click with me, but I know people really love those games, so we did get Ghost Runners too.
Yeah, which, I love Ghost Runner. I reviewed Ghost Runner.
Hey, you did. I remember that. Good times. That was a fun game. Yeah, I got to a point where I think I misunderstood how to. I got a few levels in. I was actually kind of enjoying myself, and then I did this thing where I tried to restart a level, or I tried to restart a section. And then I restarted the whole level instead, and I just lost my patience. It was a section where you had to like go all the way up in a big spiral, and I kept falling off. And I
struggled.
I think that's where I gave up as well. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So Mitch and I both gave up at the same point, and I literally and figuratively fell off from that game.
For better or worse, one of the most memorable parts of that game.
Yes. I really liked a lot of that game, though. I mean, some parts of it was frustrating to me because it's not really my type of game. I'm not usually into the type of game where if you get hit once, you're dead. But the respawn points are very generous. You get
It's,
back really fast. The animations are really slick. I mean, I could bear it.
It's novel,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
is one of the as a high praise that I could levy at it.
For sure.
All right, so wait, you got anything else to say before I move on?
I'm
No,
glad it's
good
happening,
game
and I
looks
guess there's a motorcycle.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, so the next game, which I think was the best game shown at the showcase, was Phantom Blade. I think it was Phantom Blade, but I don't know if it's Phantom Blade Zero or I think it's
Yes,
Phantom Blade.
as I like
Zero,
to
I'm
call it,
pretty sure,
Ghost
yeah.
of Dark Tsushima Shoals.
Man, this game was
Yeah.
phenomenal. Like I was just totally blown away. Like I'm like, oh my god, this I'm day one already. Like just the aesthetic alone, which I absolutely love samurai stuff. This had like a Ninja Gaiden, Sekiro, Ghost of Tsushima. Like it was a combination of all these things, and
Seb, sorry, 2 words this time. Atomic
This time.
Heart.
no, I don't think this is gonna be Atomic Heart. The gameplay looked really fun, which Atomic Heart just looked nothing but visual showcase. This actually looked like I can see.
Well,
I can-
how much of that is like how much
they
it
showed
looks
gameplay.
looks cool.
They showed
No,
gameplay.
they did show gameplay and it looks cool, but we don't know like how those attacks and everything interact with the controller. We don't know how
Oh
that
yeah,
goes
yeah.
to play.
I mean, of course, but
And like it does feel like one of those games that's kind of like fool's gold, you know?
it
Like,
could be.
looks great.
I'm just saying what I
but-
saw. Like on what I'm saying, it looks incredible. Like I mean, you're right. I don't know how much of it is eye candy or not, but for what I saw though, I was like totally blown away. It's my kind of game. I'm gonna assume this game is gonna be very hard. I'm assuming it's gonna be a Ninja Gaiden kind of game, and a lot of people you're gonna not click with it, or maybe, but maybe it's gonna be like Ghost of Tsushima, where it's like it's definitely accessible for people, and it's gonna be a cool third person action game. So I don't know.
I'd rather it be that. If anything,
I think most
yeah.
people would. I'm
It
kind
does-
of I'm kind of tired of the Souls samurai games now. I think Wolong kind of pushed me over the edge with that. Now I'm kind of tired of it.
Yeah, I mean it's an overplayed
Yeah.
genre at this point. You just see Japan and you're like, oh, it's Dark Souls.
Yeah,
It's just
and this is
annoying.
I mean, we didn't talk about this news, but like Sony's branching out like China and India and stuff, and this is a Chinese developer in Beijing, so this is their first project with Sony. So I don't know.
It
if
does
this
look
is-
good.
I don't know if it's exclusive or not, but
It does look good, and I hope it is good.
yeah,
It's gonna be semi-open world, I think I saw,
yeah, that's what it looks like. But
which is interesting.
but most of it was just like CGI cutscenes and stuff. So but
Yeah,
I'm
it kind
just-
of looked like Death Stranding meets Ghost of Tsushima.
yeah, I can
Does
see
it?
that. It has that like gray tone to it, like the
Yeah,
different-
Yeah, like-
it's bathed in gray, which is the opposite of the next game afterwards, by the way.
yes. So the next game was Sword of the Sea, which I'm very excited about because I love giant squid.
Journey Hawk Pro Skater. Am I right, everybody? I
Right.
totally stole that joke from Marvel, by the way. Not taking
I saw that on
ownership of
Twitter.
joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny.
Mm.
I thought for sure, like, it seemed very likely this was gonna be Journey 2.
It did look. It did.
I
I
was-
actually thought
well-
that at first, like the first like.
Yeah, like, I
2
think
seconds.
everyone did, because it looks exactly like Journey. Or I thought they were gonna remaster Journey again for the PS5, which I would have been fine with. But yeah, for a second there, it seemed like it was gonna be Journey 2, not made by that game company. Because I was rationalizing this in my head, and I'm thinking, okay, it's not that game company. It's the Abzu developers and everything.
Giant Squid,
But
yeah.
Sony owns the Journey IP, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
It's first party.
yeah, because they remastered it for Journey for PS4,
Yeah.
and that game company wasn't really
I
involved
think
in
Sony
that, so
published it. I believe. Let me look.
yeah, so like, Sony must own the IP for that. So like,
Yeah.
that's how I was rationalizing. Okay, shit, are they getting another developer to make a sequel to Journey? I was getting ready to be really annoyed because I don't want a sequel to Journey, let alone a sequel to Journey made by a different developer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but again, this is me getting annoyed for no reason because it's not Journey 2. It's, like Dory said, Journey Hawk Pro Skater.
I mean, the first 2 seconds I thought it was Journey, and then as soon as I saw the character model, I knew it was a giant Squid Game. Like
I'm
it
just
looked like
glad
the
that we're
Pathos.
taking the best parts of Kingdom Hearts 2, which everyone knows is the skateboarding portions in Twilight Town, and we're applying it to Journey. Obviously, the move that we should have made a long time ago. Thank you.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
does look beautiful. I love Abzu and I like Journey, so I mean, I'm interested.
And you guys never not played the Pathless yet, but the Pathless was it
I
was
kept meaning to play the Pathless, and I never
so
did.
much fun to play, so beautiful. Go ahead.
I really want to play the Pathless once they put it on PlayStation Plus. For Christ's sake.
I'm surprised they haven't
do it
yet.
already.
Although you can get it on sale now, it's got to be like $20 or something.
It's on my wish list, so I
It
get
goes on sale
notifications when
every
it
now
goes
and
on
then.
sale. But it
I'd actually
never
put
goes
it
on
back on my
sale.
wish list.
It never goes on sale below half price, and it's still too much.
That was one of the best
Yeah, that's
DualSense demo games. I mean, it wasn't a demo game; it was a full game. But like, that game really did
Tech
a good
demo.
job with the DualSense.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
Yeah,
it wasn't meant as a tech demo. It just they did a great job with the controller. You can tell it was
Yeah.
made for the PS5, even though it's on
Yeah.
PC as well.
Yeah, James is right. I had it in my wish list for a long time, and it never came down below 20, I think, or maybe.
Well, if you go digital
25?
only, I guess I saw it on like GameStop for like $20.
Oh, it's still on my wish list. Okay, never mind.
But yeah, anyway, they make fantastic games. Like I love Giant Squid. Like their first 2 games have just been great. So I was really excited. So I was like, yeah, I'm starting to feel the show now. I'm like, yeah, like I'm probably the only one. Like I'm in a small minority that's
I
like
think-
celebrating this release.
To be fair, when you read out these games in this order, it sounds pretty good, but you are skipping over a lot of fluff, I think, right? Like
No,
there's a lot of stuff that you haven't mentioned.
I'm going in order of the show. Like I'm on the video.
Right, but have
No,
you
the-
mentioned are you not skipping over some stuff?
Nope.
Really?
No, not yet.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because okay, this doesn't sound right. Because no, you surely you are because
No, I'm not.
the
I'm not a
start of the
bullshitter.
show, the start of the show was incredibly underwhelming. Like
Oh, that hasn't happened yet, though. By this point in the show.
Yeah, this.
What?
I thought the show was pretty solid in the beginning. Like
Yeah, middle. Are you talking about Metal Gear?
It's the middle that started getting.
no, the start of the show, like the
Start.
First,
I thought you
the
said
first,
star
like,
of the
10
show.
games
Sorry.
or whatever.
I thought you said
No.
star.
I don't. Nope. I'm not skipping anything.
That's what these ones were, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Not only that, somebody literally posted that the
Shit,
what do you
right.
call it? Timestamps. So I'm.
They
timestamp-
literally have a Mandela effect going on right now.
As you were.
All right. So the next one was Talos Principle 2, which I never really play these games. I don't really know
I
them
don't
that
either.
well. So I was kind of not for me, but whatever. Do you guys have anything to say about that? Can we just move on?
Nope.
I completely forgot Talos Principle existed in the first place. So
Now-
there
now
you
the
go.
ne-
For guys named Talus, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
I know a
I
Taliesin.
apologize to all the fans
Sure.
that play this. I don't know who does, but the next game they show was Neva, which I'm excited for because I love Greece. And
Yes, Greece is so
Yeah.
fucking. I played it. I finally played it like a month or two ago.
Yep, I
I
got the
don't think I
platinum.
ever.
it was such a good play.
Yeah, I don't think I ever mentioned it on the podcast, but I
Such
loved
a good,
it.
best, amazing soundtrack, amazing visuals.
Amazing soundtrack, beautiful 5 out of 5 art design.
I love the story too.
I think they call this thing Neva because I'm never gonna stop looking at it. Am I right, everybody? Because this is gonna be beautiful. All right, I'm done.
Yeah.
The
So anyways,
Once again, this is where I'm like excited on Twitter, and everybody's like, Z. I'm like, this is where
no,
I was.
I was.
I don't know how
expecting
you can
fun.
fucking ZZZZ this. You should be fucking
Right.
ZZZ and Cat Quest Pirates of the Caribbean.
No.
I think the
Cat
people-
Quest.
God.
No, Cat Quest is actually really fun games. Like they're actually
Okay.
All
quality.
right.
indie.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
No, they are.
All
People
right,
love.
all right,
no,
buddy.
no. Talk to
Yeah.
PlayStation fans. They actually really like Cat Quest.
No,
I
believe it.
refuse. They need to go touch grass first. Then I'll.
No,
I'll
you're,
talk to
y'all crazy. You can't just. No. You can't just praise Greece and then bash Cat Quest. We're talking the most niche games right now.
I know. I was hoping you would pick up on the irony of me telling them to touch grass when I just said I love Greece. No,
so
but yeah,
listen.
that's good.
So Grease came out in what 2018? I think it came out in 2018. So like,
What Greece?
Yeah.
that feels early.
no, it was definitely no later than
It's
2018.
2018. It's 2018. Exactly. 2018.
Yeah. So came in 2018. I was starting to think that this developer had like kind of made that game and then just dipped,
Yeah.
right? Like broken up. So I was surprised to see this.
No, yeah, I didn't even.
but-
I totally forgot about them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but it looks good.
Yep. I mean, just from their track record from Greece, I expect exactly what
It
we
looks.
saw.
I mean, it looks fucking stunning. I'm absolutely gonna play it just to look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and that's kind of what Grease was like. It wasn't a game that you really played. It was more a game that you looked at, right?
I mean, yes and no.
I mean, it was
was-
a puzzle game, but there wasn't much to it.
Yeah, it was more.
I'm not bashing it. I'm not bashing it.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
it's
more an
brilliant.
experience. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, the next game was Cat Quest: Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay, so be
Alright, and the
real
next
with me.
game
Do
was-
people actually like this game?
Yeah, people really like Cat Quest 1 and 2. This is the
What the
third
fuck
one.
is Cat
Jesus
Quest? I've
Christ.
never heard of Cat. I feel like I've been in a fucking coma because this is the second game I've literally never
Well,
heard of.
it's an obscure. It is not like a huge IP, obviously, but like
Holy shit!
it has a really
It's
cool 2D
overwhelmingly
vibe.
positive on Steam.
Yes,
the first one.
Of course.
What the
Jesus
fuck?
Christ!
Guys,
Okay, so what is this game?
I'm very
What's going on
hardcore.
here?
I'm very hardcore gamer, so
Play Cat Quest,
Yeah.
Pirates of the
Like,
Caribbean.
like this is where you're like you're a gamer, and then you have like the casuals, like you like
You play Cat Quest.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up,
Cat
Steph. I
Quest.
swear to God. Play it.
Do you have,
goddamn
like- do you have
casuals.
a-
You're talking about goddamn fucking Cat Quest.
No,
Do
but
you have Cat Quest merch? Do you have like a shelf
I-
of Cat Quest
I-
statues and T-shirts and stuff?
I just imagine he just like moves the camera.
That's
It's just been
Cat
Cat Quest the whole time, like a big like fucking
No.
shelf of Cat Quest.
Number one Cat Quest.
no,
fan?
they're fun. They're
That's
fun
right.
game. I'm not a huge fan, but they're fun games, and people really like these games. It's a niche game, but it kind of has. I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's 2D and 3D at the same time. If you're watching gameplay,
Is it Paper Mario or what is it? Like
It's
that,
like
one of
Paper
the
Mario.
Nintendo games that had like a similar style. Yeah.
it's like Paper Mario,
It's like-
but it's like real time combat. Like you roll around and
Yeah.
smack things. Yeah, they're good
Yeah.
games. Like and they're always on sale. And I think they were on Plus membership or PS Now for like forever. So you get them for like $4 now.
Probably.
But I think they're on.
Probably.
I think they might be on Plus membership right now, or at least it was. But yeah, they're like I said, not gonna move any consoles, but
Units,
people like those
but-
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the next game was Foam Stars, which I called. We have Splatoon at home.
Yeah.
This was the worst
Yeah.
game shown at the showcase. I thought this was.
Splatoon with NFTs probably.
I thought it was a disgrace, and I
Oh,
thought
God, it looks so fucking shitty.
I thought
As soon as this was the weakest game. I don't care about the first game, whatever that got shown. This was the weakest game
No.
that got shown. I saw this and I was like, this looks like, yeah, totally Splatoon. Just Splatoon.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, now I was digging the soundtrack. It reminded me of Persona, but that was about all I liked about it. It was just garbage left
Yeah.
and right. So
What,
Not great.
that actually reminds me. How did we get through the whole Guardians of the Galaxy topic without talking about the soundtrack for that film?
oh, soundtrack was
Ooh.
no. Oh my God, the fucking Beastie Boys drop. No Sleep Till Brooklyn. I was freaking out.
let's.
That was so good.
We can't go on a tangent here because then we'll,
No, we can't.
I know, I'm
We'll
sorry,
We'll be
I'm
here
sorry.
I
all
just
night.
had to say that.
I know.
Maybe next week. But
I'm just so tired of Square Enix and this. Like Square Enix, get me wrong, they got Final Fantasy 16 coming out and they've had Octopath
Right.
and all that stuff. But RPG wise, they're doing fantastic. But everything else, anything service related, they can't do. Like they fucked up every service game they've handled. Like Babylon's Fall and this and just what are we doing?
Square Enix, I now see like your uncle who's addicted to gambling, and soon he's gonna pawn off Final Fantasy to make more money for NFTs.
Yeah.
Like seriously, what are the chances of this game having NFTs?
Oh, this
Hi.
is high, very high. Like this is
Yeah.
a service game. PlayStation should not even shown this at the
No.
showcase. I thought this is the kind of game that ruins like your show. Like even let's say PlayStation had a banger after banger in this showcase. It was like A+ kind of showcase. This is not something you show that like it just ruins.
This was the Redfall of their showcase.
Exactly.
Honestly, in
And
my
at least it's
opinion.
not first party or anything.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be embarrassing to like have like one of their
I just
if that's
counted.
what
live
There's
service
like 23
efforts.
more things after this, so let's not spend a million years on this game that we're
Yeah.
gonna forget about.
I mean, we are anyway.
Mm.
Like I said, if fair games look like that, then yeah, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
The next one was the Plucky Squire, which I'm really
This game
excited.
rules.
Again-
yeah, this game looks awesome.
Again, I'm excited. Everybody else is like Z, and I'm like, yeah, this is where I know I'm
This
a
game
hardcore
looks
gamer.
so fun.
It looks great.
Z. I don't even understand. This game looks so cute. It looks so fun. The combat looks great.
Exactly.
The animation looks great.
That's what I'm saying.
It looks
People
awesome.
People are bitching about like cool looking games.
This is where I know I'm a hardcore gamer, because I already knew about this game.
Yeah, I saw it at the Xbox showcase last year, I think, or one of the
Yeah,
Xbox
it's
shows.
it's from
Devolver.
It's a new studio founded by two people. One of whom used to be the art director on the Pokemon games.
Mm.
So that's
love-
why it's like it looks awesome.
I love the Paper Mario vibes, and then like the 3D and the 2D are just so seamless. It's beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah.
This is like Paper Mario if like Nintendo had a 4K machine, basically.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
So
That's
I'm
accurate.
that's a day one game for me. So the next one was Teardown, which I didn't give a shit about. I don't like.
I did not care either.
I don't like the Minecraft look to it.
I
This
don't
is,
even
I
remember.
literally thought it was Minecraft for a second.
I'm
I was
like,
what the fuck?
This
yeah.
was like Minecraft. We have Minecraft at home. So
I mean, there's not much to say. But it's actually no, the game is already out. This is just a trailer for a PlayStation 4.
PS5, yeah.
oh, okay.
um,
Now people
but,
do
like-
people like these games? I never.
Yeah,
heard of it.
Yes,
it's got
people love it.
it's
Yeah.
really well
Okay.
received on PC.
Oh, okay, but I just thought it looked.
No, I get it. It looks generic.
It's like Minecraft,
but it's
but,
actually.
but like more.
I've
more
never played
better
it,
looking.
but it's it looks like Minecraft, but it's not. It's nothing like Minecraft from what I understand.
Gotcha.
Because it's basically the whole point of the game is just demolishing buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why it's kind of blocky, because like physics and you know how all that stuff kind of.
Yeah, it's probably like a
Kinda
hardcore
works.
PC gamer kind of thing. Like people spend hours
It
building
does.
things. Yeah,
It does seem like a PC game.
which doesn't really translate to PlayStation and like console. Like
No.
like Dream should be on PC. I think it would do way better. On
Oh,
PC.
oh God, Seb, don't say
No, I'm
that
just saying
word
creative
around
game
James.
creative games just do better on PC.
I'm
than-
just saying you're not supposed to
don't
say that
actually-
word around James.
Just don't say it, because they said when they were bringing Dreams out that they could put it on PC, but now that it looks like that's not going to happen.
It would have happened by
No.
now. It would have happened by now.
Because they're
Yeah.
winding down support for it. Oh, that's painful.
All right, so
Yeah, I told you.
so the next game was, what a thrill, the darkness. All right.
With
right,
darkness
of
and
course, of
silence
course.
in the night.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 6.
Now,
Yep.
those are cool teas with the animals and stuff. Like I was like, oh, here we go. This is gonna be some grounded looking game, and it ended up being Snake.
I thought it was going to be Jurassic Park for a second.
No,
I love that the bandana melds into his eyebrows and becomes part of his face. It's incredible.
Yeah, it looks like kind of
Yeah.
like a Batman scowl, but
That's it. I honestly, I think the biggest like exciting thing for me, like when I saw, kind of like the title, like obviously Big Boss's face and saw the title drop, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, like that was announced on Twitter, and then like right after when they said that, like the original 3 games are coming to like PS5 and all that in a few months, I'm like, oh shit, that was a really exciting thing for me.
yeah, me too. I'm
Because
very, I'm so hyped to play
I
all
love
of them
the
again.
originals.
I love Metal Gear Solid 3. That's the
3 is my
Metal
favorite.
Gear one. That really clicked with me, and I love. So I'm super excited for the
Three
remake.
is all of them, but especially 3. I think is masterclass of storytelling in video games. Like I don't,
Yeah,
not
for
many
sure.
many games have topped that. Like we're talking like
Yeah.
Last of Us level of like quality.
So good.
Yeah, I for one am very excited for the next game from development team.
Oh, we're not done with Metal Gear yet because it's too big of a game.
No,
to-
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking
I'm
about
just
Metal
saying. I don't.
Oh right,
Snake
yeah.
Eater.
Okay.
I'm talking about Snake Eater. Did
Yeah.
you not see the tweet that they put out in the official
No, I haven't.
Metal Gear?
I actually did not see them.
So they put out a tweet on the official Metal Gear Twitter account, and it was basically like it was talking about how it was talking about the game and how they were excited to be making it and stuff, but it was signed development team, and it was like
Oh, right.
from development, not the development team, just development team.
Development team. Yeah.
Like,
That's,
they're
that's
being
so
really-
Kojima without Kojima being part of this.
They're being very coy about who's actually making this game.
I mean, have you seen
I-
Jeff Keighley?
I mean, if it's not Kojima,
Yeah.
then why the fuck would we even care?
Right.
It's an interesting choice calling it Delta.
It'd never be. It was never gonna be Kojima because Kojima's like well past or like has gone well beyond.
Yeah, he has his own studio now.
Konami now. Like, there's no way in hell he's coming back for any of these
Yeah,
Metal Gear games.
I mean, that's true, but I mean, like, I don't know. Can anyone replicate what Kojima did?
oh, I mean, they technically are like because like I'm pretty sure they've already said like they're keeping pretty much all the locations and dialogue and everything one to one. They're just basically
remaking it
doing
up for
from
the
ground
PS5,
up. Yeah,
yeah.
just remaking it up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which-
They're modifying the gameplay from what I've heard.
Oh, of course, yeah. Gameplay
Right,
would
right.
be changed, but like in terms of like locations and dialogue,
Okay, I see.
they're trying to keep.
I
as
didn't know
one-to-one
how
as possible,
expansive
which I feel like
the remake was.
yeah, which I feel like is the best way to handle it because like I feel like. You know, because like if they try to say it's like like even if they try to do like the Silent Hill 2 thing where it's like okay we're trying to you're like we're gonna change things up and present new locations and remixed gameplay ideas and stuff like that, people would throw a fit, like yeah, like people would not be happy just because like obviously Kojima and Konami's fallout was just so big and so well documented. The second like it'd be very bad PR if Konami said, "Hey, we're gonna like a remixed and improved Metal Gear Solid 3 experience." Like that'd be like probably the worst PR move they could ever make. But they're not, so that's good.
Yeah.
And I mean, like if they stick to like they've said the original cast is coming back as well, so can't go
Alright.
wrong there.
All right, we're gonna move on for the sake of pacing.
Yes.
The next game was Towers of Agaspa.
What?
Yeah.
Stupid RPG title is stupid. I mean, it's actually a survival game, but whatever.
Yeah.
The
Aesthetic.
Oh,
makes even
no.
less sense then.
People say it was Breath of
It's
the
like
Wild.
a city builder. It's like
but-
it's like Civilization games plus RPG. I think plus
Yeah.
like Monster Hunter
Weird.
plus Civ games. I think.
That's where. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Monster Hunter. I mean, it's not a Monster Hunter game, but it like kind of game, but the world looked pretty cool. I mean, the world looks cool. I mean, people calling it Breath of the Wild are just lazy take because he has a glider. Like that's so boring, but.
Yeah, everybody does that now.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
The
No,
title,
yeah, I
the
remember.
title doesn't do any justice. So
I'd
Yeah.
completely forgotten about this one until.
yeah, that
Until you said
that one I
glider.
I blinked and I didn't really care about that one personally, but
Yeah.
hopefully people will like it if they like it. All right, Final Fantasy 16 they showed again. I'm not talking about that again. Like,
We're not talking about it. Fuck that.
I'm already sold.
That's fine.
We're all sold on it. Stop it, Square. Stop it. Just
All
show
right,
me Kingdom
yeah.
Hearts 4. The fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, hopefully Summer Game Fest. We see Kingdom Hearts. Next game was Alan Wake 2, which I'm super excited about.
I would
that's
love to
second
be
best
excited for
showing,
this game.
I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was the second best showing as well.
I would love to
I
be
thought it
excited for
looked
this
great.
game, except I did not like the first one. So
I asked
Hmm.
my friend who I was watching it with, why they weren't playing as Alan Wake in Alan Wake 2 in the trailer, and he said that he couldn't tell me without spoiling the first game. So
Yeah.
You didn't play the first game?
yeah,
It's
no, I haven't played it yet.
Oh,
I mean, like I was like honestly, like the second I saw the two cop characters, I was like, even before they like started to show gameplay or anything, I was like, oh, I wonder if it's like you'll be playing from a different character's perspective, and like the Alan Wake 2 will be like like he'll be kind of like an overarching like an omnipotent type character type thing, and like it'll be about Alan Wake rather than like being from his perspective. But they got both things going on, which I think is cool. I think I read somewhere that like they're going to be separate campaigns, like Resident Evil 1 and 2 type thing. I'm interested to see how that'll go, but yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's a
like I
survival
said,
horror.
I didn't really care for the first one, but I also know that this is years and years later, and we've come a lot further in
Yeah.
terms of survival horror. So I want to be optimistic, but I wasn't hyped for it.
I mean, the first one wasn't even really at least classified as a survival horror. Like it had
Well, I know.
elements, sure, but it's like yeah.
it's more an
What
action game.
would you
than-
call it? Yeah, it's an action game masquerading as a horror game.
I mean, it is survival horror because
action thriller, yeah.
It's I would call it. I mean, survival horror first and foremost because you have to. inventory management, and you have to make sure you don't run out of bullets and stuff like that.
I mean, like it is inventory management, but at the same time, it's like it's a light inventory management, just in the sense
Sure.
that, you know,
it's
you're never really actively running out of resources unless you're just actively, yeah.
I mean, it's not the most standard. You know, it doesn't fit the definition like 100%, but you know what I mean. At the end of the day, it's a survival. It's a survival horror action game. So
yeah,
I'm excited. I'm super
I get what you
excited.
mean.
I think Remedy is just. I thought they've been fantastic in recent years. So I'm excited to see how Alan Wake 2 is. It comes out this year.
It comes out the week after or the week before Assassin's Creed Mirage.
October 17th.
Yeah. Okay. So 5 days even.
So we get that, and then we get Alone in the Dark a week later. So that's a big month for survival horror. All right. Next game was Assassin's Creed Mirage, which now on one end it looks like every Assassin's Creed I've ever seen. It looks like a PS4 game. It doesn't look anything mind blowing. At the same time, that's kind of what I want from this series. I'm so tired of the bloated open world. I liked Valhalla, but it was like just too big in my opinion.
I'm
happy they're going back to like old school assassinating. And
I kind of disagree with you though. I mean, I don't think it looks like a PS4 game. I think graphically it looks it was one of the most impressive games of the showcase.
It also looks really old-fashioned.
I'd agree.
Not really, but it looked old-fashioned to me. I don't know why, but I got PS4 vibes from it too.
Yeah, like
I think
it's not that it looks like
just the environments and lighting more so than anything else.
Yeah, I thought
I really like the art style of it. Yeah,
I do too.
It's not that I mean, obviously the PS4 games don't look as good as this. It's just something about it. It just looks like dated. Like it might be the lighting or something. Like it just didn't wow me at all.
I can see that. Yeah.
It just Ubisoft just doesn't do the best with like character models and stuff. There's nothing like ever like blows me away. Like I mean like what actual like in the game, not like cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'll probably play it when it's on sale. I don't think I'm day one for that though. The next game was Revenant Hill, which I am interested in because I like that studio and I like the aesthetic to it. Once again,
which one was this?
That's the game with the cat, the black cat.
Night in the Woods people.
The Night in the Woods people.
Right, yeah.
I love that art style, and I like Night in the Woods. So
I assumed this was Night in the Woods too. I was like, this. Yeah,
that's what I thought.
I saw the cat. I was like, this is Night in the Woods too. And
that's what I thought as well.
Is it not the same cat from the? I haven't played Night in the Woods, but is it not the same cat?
It does seem like the same cat. But it's a totally different story. It's about a cat named Twigs trying to become a witch's familiar. So
yeah.
Oh right, okay. So it's definitely not like.
It's definitely a different. Maybe it's a cat from Night in the
Woods.
Woods, but it's a completely different story.
Okay. Yeah, it might be one of those like Final Fantasy things where it's like a different universe, but it's like the same type of characters show up or type of like.
It's like how. It's like how Moogles exist in all Square Enix games, and they're always ripping you off, no matter what.
Yeah, like in Final Fantasy, there's always a Cid, and then there's always Chocobo, and there's always Moogles and stuff. All right, next game was.
Boy, this one's a mouthful.
Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which I actually think it looks pretty cool.
The fuck?
I love the Tales of Arise vibe to it. Like it looks a lot of fun.
I don't remember.
I was the whole time the trailer was on. I was trying to figure out. Okay. Is it Dragon Quest? No. Is it Ni no Kuni? No. Is it Tales? No.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I like JRPGs and stuff, but I'm not like the most hardcore JRPG person where I can just like point out immediately what franchise it is. But from what I saw, it looked really fun. I don't know like what kind of. I'm assuming it's an action RPG, but like. I didn't know if it was an MMO or not. I didn't know what it was. What was it? A service game? I'm assuming it's not, obviously, but it looks really cool. I'm definitely gonna check it out.
According to everyone's favorite gaming website, Kotaku, it will feature co-op.
Co-op, okay. So that'd be a fun game to play with people, actually. So I'm interested in that. I'm not like I gotta wait for reviews and stuff, but that comes out like later this year too. I think it was like November or something. Winter, 2023 winter. All right. Next game was Street Fighter 6, which I'm very excited for. I'm going to get it day one in a couple weeks. I didn't need to see it in this showcase because I've seen enough of it. There's a demo, and so I get why they're doing it because they own Evo, and
Just
it's
to
gonna be
keep
a
the interest
monster.
up, yeah.
It's gonna be a monster seller, so I didn't mind them showing it. So it wasn't that long, so it was fine.
Did they even reveal anything new?
They just showed more like cutscenes, like cinematic cutscenes. Because the whole story mode, the whole thing they're doing is pretty new. Is new to the series and stuff. So, if you're not into fighting games, then obviously that did nothing for you. The next game, which I was really into, because I like the aesthetic, it looked really unique, was Ultros. I think it was, yeah, Ultros. It looked like a Metroidvania, from what I'm seeing. You guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's the game with all the flowers and stuff.
I know what you're talking about. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks cool. Metroidvanias are really hit or miss for me in sort of platformers, so I doubt I'll be into this, but I love the art style. Art style is very unique and colorful, and I like it.
That's my thing with this game, is that like I like to look at it, but I'm not a big Metroidvania fan, and if it's game, it's like I'm not like, people love Hollow Knight, and that's just not my thing. And so
Kotaku says it's an action platformer, but I don't know. It looks like a Metroidvania to me, but I don't know.
Action platformer. Okay, maybe action platformer kind of typically tends to be Metroidvanias, no?
Yeah, I know, right? So I don't know. It seems like
the next game was Tower of Fantasy, which was another like JRPG looking game.
Wait, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. The second Tower game. To be shown.
Yeah. That's true. Yep. This game looks, the colors look great and everything. There was like a lot of mech stuff, but I don't know anything about this, so I thought it looked cool. Wasn't like probably not something I would buy, but hey. Let's move on. Next game was Dragon's Dogma 2, which I am super hyped for. I was very happy to see this. This is one of Capcom's best.
I thought it was just an okay showing. Like the trailer didn't really do much for me, but
the trailer wasn't the best.
I saw everyone else.
It doesn't need to.
Yeah, I saw everyone else. Like,
I know nothing about the series, and I will probably not get the game, so it did nothing for me. But whatever. So I'm glad other people are happy.
But did anyone see this coming?
No, we already knew about it.
No, but even if you had told me,
I know we already knew the game, but when they revealed the game, they were speaking about it like it had just started development, and that was only like a year ago.
Yeah,
so,
like,
that's why I never expected it.
They didn't give a release date, so I mean, it's probably still a ways away.
It probably is, but I didn't expect to see it for another couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, from what I'm seeing, it looks like it might not be that far away. Like, it might be. This looks pretty finished for mostly. Like, it's probably like 2025, maybe early 2025.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it came out in the fall of next year either. But who knows? But yeah, I'm with you though. I was kind of surprised at how much they showed. Like, there wasn't just CGI; they actually showed some gameplay elements. Dragon's Dogma is very well loved. The first one, so I am excited to see that. Right. So the next one was. Okay, so this is when we start getting the VR section. This is when everybody really got negative. Me, I was mostly positive. Some things I was like, eh. And this is the first one.
I mean, they're just kind of games you've already seen.
Yeah, the first...
Like, aren't nothing new and mind-blowing.
Yeah, the first one was FNAF Help Wanted to, which I would not play FNAF in VR just because I don't want jump scares every 5 seconds in my face.
I've got some thoughts about this. But not specifically about the game, but like about the franchise. So okay, first off, why is this franchise so popular? Right, that's my question. That's one of my questions. Because it's like, look,
memes.
The production value of these games never rises to a respectable level. Like the logo for this newest game, right? It looks like it was made.
The number 2
in Microsoft Word or something. Like, it does not look good. Like, how can you have a franchise that's this successful?
Well, I think
they've always used that.
I think it's a '90s thing. I think it's a '90s thing, right? Because FNAF is kind of set in in a
Yes
world
and
where
no, well, because like
Not
FNAF's
anymore.
like
It used
biggest,
to be.
oh, okay.
like the biggest, I'd say like the biggest, like most vocal part of the fandom are teenagers and younger kids, you know, who follow it and whatnot. It's really just because, like, I mean, like, obviously it had a big boom because, you know, when it first came out, it was like at the height of, you know, YouTuber Let's Plays, like with Markiplier and PewDiePie and stuff like that. So, like, you know, they'd react to it.
I love the
and
game theory
then they'd
videos.
jump scare and stuff. Yeah, and that too is like, you know, game theory was at their peak as well at that time, and that really just kind of propelled everything forwards. So for like, you know, at least the first 2 to 3 years, there was just a big constant hype cycle around it because just like, you know, new games were coming out every 6 or so months. You know, it's not like we'd have to wait years between releases. It was like, you know, every 6 months. And there'd be like new stories and like, you know, there'd be months and months, and after that in between there'd be months and months and months worth of storytelling and theories that could be had that would, you know, basically just tie them over until the next game came out.
Right.
Then it kind of died down again, you know, after like like a 5th or 6th game or something. Like it kind of died off after that, and then that's obviously when the books and everything came in, and I think a lot of people would agree, lore-wise, it just became a bit of a mess. And then at least with like Security Breach, because of how high profile that game was, with how bad its launch was, it kind of just got people interested in FNAF again, for better or worse. And it's like, okay, you know, like this exists, let me check it out. And, you know, like it's the first big proper game they've had.
Yeah, FNAF's in a new era now.
Yeah, and they've got the movie coming out as well, so it's
I like FNAF.
It's like oversaturation, the franchise.
Oh, it was, but now it's pretty spread out. It's pretty spread out now, I think.
If you look at like just the games, like it's fine. But like if you look at like the merchandise, the books, then
it's a lot.
Probably, I'm assuming coloring books. Yeah, there's
hundreds of books at this point.
In that sense.
I love specifically coloring books, man.
I don't even know if there are coloring books.
They're huge with kids. My students,
there's gotta be.
My students love FNAF. You know, and this is This is a series where like a man murders children and puts their souls in like their robot. And children love this. Like, it's violent.
That was the original, but then like I think the ones that really hit off with kids are like I think it was the books and stuff where it's like it became about sentient androids and got into like this really,
which is also Souls,
like, supernatural.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's where it became.
We'll go on a tangent. A mess. About that. Yeah.
Finally, a horror franchise that's approachable for children.
Yeah.
I do it. No, listen.
Yeah.
It seems to me that anybody who has an opinion on this franchise either loves it or can't stand it.
I am so indifferent. I do not give a shit about this franchise.
I think a lot of people are indifferent, to be honest with you. I think people only hate it because it's popular. People always just hate people just like being contrary.
Honestly, I know your kids love it because you say FNAF. You don't say Five Nights at Freddy's. I always say Five Nights at Freddy's. I didn't even know people said FNAF.
I'm on the internet.
There is an element.
Wow. Okay. Excuse me. Mr.
No,
Popular.
I'm just saying. I'm always. That's what the people say on the internet.
There is an element of
saying it for years, like a decade at this point. I'm surprised you've never heard FNAF being said.
I'm sure I have, but I probably buried it.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
It's like when I say "wow," like, is that like a surprise? You know what I'm talking about when I say "wow," right?
Yeah, but I grew up with WoW. I never paid attention to FNAF. You know, I'm sorry. It just sounds weird.
We gotta move on, just because we're heading for 3 hours. All right. Next game was Resident Evil 4 VR, which I totally expected, and I'm totally hyped for. And I'm totally hyped for it. Now I'm gonna play again.
Like the same.
I'm
honestly,
but
I see this coming in with the Separate Ways DLC. Like I see just that all being bundled in together.
I was disappointed they didn't show Separate Ways. I thought they would. I was pretty confident they were going to show like tease it at least. Because they had to be working on it because the game did just come out, but like they were probably working on it on the same time on the side. So
yeah, I don't know. I feel like they were probably. I mean, I don't blame them for just wanting to focus on the VR portion at this stage, and then eventually move on to Separate Ways at a later date.
Yeah.
What is Separate Ways? Because I definitely feel like I've made a Journey reference to that on this podcast before.
The
My
Ada
f-
Wong DLC.
That's
where
my
you
favorite.
Basically
Right,
plays
yes.
Ada Wong.
Yes.
That's the best Journey
Yeah.
song. All right.
It's pretty good.
Play that at karaoke and you'll get me singing. Next game was Arizona Sunshine 2, which I'm not like super hyped for, but I beat the first game on PSVR 1, and I actually had a blast playing it. It's a really fun zombie game.
Yeah, I mean, like I've played bits and pieces of it, but like it feels, at least the first one just was like one of those really early VR
Very
type
early.
games that just like
Yeah,
it's like not tech demo-y, but it's like, it felt like just fairly like nothing too deep, nothing too innovative.
It's
It's just
like-
zombies in VR.
yeah, it's
so-
like black and white movie phase. Just like this is the
Yeah.
bare minimum of what VR is. I think Telltale, The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, improved.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
This game has to like be better than, has to match that, or otherwise it's gonna look like shit.
Or at least has to at least bring something new to the table, like really great graphics, or like some like, new gameplay mechanics, something like it. If it wants to actually stand out, it can't just be another zombie VR game.
Exactly, and
The thing is, right, it's like all these VR games that they're showing are just shooters, and it's like, okay, if that's the standard for VR, is just shooters. It's that none of these feel like the where VR is going, and I know this is exactly what I'll be honest. I listened to the Kind of Funny podcast about the showcase before we're recording this, so maybe I'm echoing some of their thoughts, but it's true. It's like none of these games feel like they're pushing VR forward. It just feels like it's stagnant. And it's just shooters, and it's like, okay, like we've got loads of shooters for VR, and it makes sense, right? It makes the most sense probably of any genre to put in VR, but like, come on, what are we doing, guys?
I mean,
I agree. This by far to me, and obviously I'm biased, right? I'm not a VR player, so this section wasn't for me, which is fine. Not everything has to be for me, but. I just, even as a VR player, I can't imagine a lot of these were, besides Resident Evil and Beat Saber, were super exciting for VR people. I mean, a lot of this just seemed like the easy way out for VR, And I'm not saying not everything has to be Half-Life Alyx. Not everything has to be like Beat Saber. I'm fine with a couple generic shooter games here and there, and that's fine. But it just seemed like one too many to me anyway. So I agree with James here. It didn't seem like it pushed anything forward.
I mean, I don't know about Crossfire. People seem to like Crossfire. It's a first-party game, and I don't know though. I never played the first one, but I know people like it. I don't know if people.
I'm
love it,
I'm
though.
sure it's great. It's just And
then I thought Synapse looked great though. That looked like a really fun John Wick kind of like.
Synapse did look pretty cool. I will say Synapse was the only one that really caught my eye.
I already knew about it, so I was already kind of like excited for it.
They revealed the last one, didn't they? The last
State of play
showcase thing.
It was at the State of Play.
That's
I
it.
think. Yeah.
they're apparently they're gonna make a AAA John Wick game. That's gonna be a thing.
I feel like it's been rumored for a while, but yeah.
I mean, that's
it was in
basically
like
what it
an
is.
investor call or something with like Lionsgate, is it, that has the rights
Right,
to it?
yeah.
I can see that.
But like,
Yeah,
they said they're in early stages of working that out.
Now, Beat Saber. Dory mentioned Beat Saber. They showed Beat Saber. It's getting a PS5 upgrade. It's free if you have it already. I think anyway. I checked and I have to buy it again. For some reason, mine's not translating over. So
that's dumb.
It's something I'd play. It's something I'd buy again anyway. Beat Saber is probably the best VR game ever made, or at least top 3. It's incredible, great exercise. My only problem with that game is like you have to buy all the songs. And it's like you want the Queen pack. It's like $6. It's like, ugh, I don't want to spend $6.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Well, that's the
That's how they make their money, though. So
that's the Guitar Hero, or like what is it? What's the other one?
Rock Band.
Rock Band. That's the Rock Band model, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the bare minimum. They'll like give you like no like mainstream songs. It's like their own songs, and then they force you to buy all the mainstream songs. Which is I get it. I don't hate it. I'm just saying. Then okay, so that was the
they
VR.
give you a pretty paltry amount.
Exactly.
Launch,
Exactly. So that was the VR section. Like I said, it wasn't like blown. I wasn't mind blown, but I was like, I'm probably gonna buy all of these games except for FNAF and maybe I don't know. Crossfire, we'll see. I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on Synapse for sure. And then BC obviously is incredible. Marathon was the next thing shown, which is from Bungie.
Oh shit, yeah.
Which they brought Marathon back, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely one
This
of the
is fucking wild. I guess.
Can
Sorry.
someone like briefly explain what Marathon is? Because like I know it was like one of their old projects.
So,
like, I don't
so you
understand
put
why
one
it's
foot in front of the other
Oh,
for
okay.
like a really long time. Really long time.
The Bungie IP. What the Bungie IP is? Yeah.
We're talking
I've-
like Mac days, like the Apple
Yeah,
Macintosh.
told
this
us,
is
like, the-
old Bungie. Like
is
this is
1994.
pre-Halo Bungie.
This is like I was a
Yeah, this
baby.
is pre.
Yeah.
I've
But,
been
like,
told
does them-
that it's
Yeah,
been described to me as like the precursor to Halo.
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
I mean,
But
they
they're
basically
doing it as
Bungie based some of the Halo lore based on old Marathon lore that never really took shape, and
Right,
changed it and
okay.
stuff like that. But yeah,
Right.
I don't know what the fuck Marathon is. I was too young to really
I
play
didn't-
it or
Like, I mean,
even be
like,
aware of it.
I'm aware
I know
of
there's
it, but I
history
never played
behind
it.
But I don't know why it's.
It-
Yeah, like I know there's the history behind it, but I don't know why everyone's so
It-
up in arms. Like especially because like it's just like
Nostalgia.
an extraction shooter.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Wait,
yeah.
up in arms? Are they mad or are they excited? What?
No. Sorry, like yeah, excited.
I think
Oh,
people are
okay.
excited.
I was about to say I didn't think people were upset about this.
Yeah.
No, Bungie's
Yeah,
a
What a
quality.
weird thing to get upset about.
Bungie's a quality developer. No one's ever gonna get pissed
Yeah.
off at a
I-
Bungie project unless
Yeah.
it's something stupid.
it's it does. The thing is, I mean, obviously it wasn't an extraction shooter before Halo, right? The original version obviously wasn't.
It plays like
'Cause,
Wolfenstein or Doom, like old school.
Right. So like, is it Marathon in anything other than name? Is my question.
No idea. They
don't know.
barely showed anything in the trailer, right? I mean, there
I
was
did-
not
yeah,
much
exactly.
It's
there.
definitely
I-
the coolest game aesthetically
Yes.
of the whole show.
Even
The
the
aesthetics were cool, but other than that, I don't know. I couldn't really be.
I know the original games have that same aesthetic, like that same colorful, like it kind of has like a System Shock kind of vibe to it, where it's like it's in like the space, but it
It's
has
like
like,
kinda
but the
like
spaceship is like very
The
colorful.
future.
Crash test dummies and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
we should move on though, because I again, this is just another CG trailer. There's not really much to
yeah.
Was it CG?
talk on.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
all
was-
CG.
They didn't show
Oh,
anything.
like, at the very least, it didn't show any actual gameplay. It was really just
Yeah,
a bunch of
it was all
visuals
CG. I'm
and-
looking at it right now.
Why
Yeah.
must we rush through life? Let's enjoy.
I'm fine. but
True.
If you guys want to move on, all right.
Look, I want to eat.
all
Fair
right.
enough.
Yeah. Okay. Destiny 2. We can skip that. I think. Right. The door.
I mean,
Final
like
shape.
it's cool to see that it's cool that Nathan Fillion is back, but it's like, yeah, again, it's like
Is it cool?
cool reveal,
Again,
but
like, just
I mean,
if you
look-
kill off your characters, let them stay dead.
And we didn't talk about Nathan
you know?
Fillion being in
yeah, but
Guardians of the
considering,
Galaxy.
considering the fact that Lance Reddick is passed, I feel like this is the one occasion where I'm like, okay, yeah, bring back like one of the main trio, then
Yeah.
Okay,
like
yeah,
I'm
for sure, I'll give him that.
yeah, especially since Nathan Fillion didn't even voice the character in his for his death expansion or anything. It was just Nolan North doing like a really poor Nathan Fillion impersonation. So I'm glad to see that Nathan Fillion.
I mean, that
himself
kind of
is
comes
back.
full.
Yeah.
That comes full circle, right? Because everyone's always like, Nathan Fillion should play Nathan Drake. So it's like Nathan Fillion's doing his
I
Nolan
didn't
North,
didn't
and
even
Nolan
think
North
about that.
is
Yeah.
doing his Nathan Fillion.
All right.
It's a whole
and-
thing.
So the next thing they showed was Concord, which is Firewalk Studios' new game. It's a PvP multiplayer, but we wouldn't know that because they literally showed nothing. They just showed like the inside of a spaceship, and then it ended.
I'm gonna be honest. Half of these games you're mentioning, I have zero recollection of it. Until I actually look through it. And
This, I think,
Yeah.
this
Well, I'm
one
looking
was
at
the
it
most
while I'm
nothing
talking.
trailer.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
was
well,
the
yeah,
most.
exactly.
Trailer.
Yeah, this is the
Even
most nothing
Kotaku,
Yeah.
even Kotaku's like, we don't really know. Like, this seems like a Destiny thing, but it's being developed by Firewalk Studios.
Yeah, the
And
PvP. All we
Who
know.
gives a fuck what
All we
the
know.
PvP is, though, to be honest.
That's all we know.
Who
It's
gives a
multi.
shit.
All
Say-
this trailer succeeded at doing was making me nostalgic for Concord. Like, the
Yeah, I
airplane.
just think of Conker's adventure on the
Bad Fur Day.
N64. That's what I keep thinking
Concord, not Concord.
of. I know. I'm just saying. It reminds me of Conquer.
Does it?
Bad Fur
Concord.
Day. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
And then they showed Gran Turismo trailer for a movie, which was really stupid.
Weird.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering, was Concord a thing in the US? Did you guys know about that?
No,
No.
Never heard of it.
No.
says the Australian.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what the fuck? You don't speak
Was
for
it?
me.
Only
Did
Concord
you
I
know
know.
about it in Australia? Were you? Wait, Mitch, you probably weren't alive.
Only thing I
Probably
know.
not.
Concord. Only Concord I know is like the city in Massachusetts. Like that's pretty much.
That's crazy.
And there's
That's
a
crazy.
Concord, New Hampshire, and that's all I know. That's what I think
And
of.
New Hampshire
So
is. The,
Concord was like this big commercial plane that I think it broke the sound barrier. Was its claim to fame?
I wouldn't.
They and
I
then
wouldn't
they
know that.
decommissioned it after a certain amount, after like a decade or something, because they started crashing or blowing up or something.
You think
But
that's-
it was like one of the few. Again, this is a weird tangent, but it was like one of the few cases where a technological innovation kind of came and then went, and we never really went back to it. You know, like it was kind of it was this cool thing where commercial planes broke the sound barrier and everything, but then it died off and it hasn't happened again.
You think?
It was weird.
You think this is a reference to that? Or you think like there's a reason why this is named Concord?
I think there's probably something. I mean, obviously, the trailer didn't give anything away, so who knows? But I think there's something there, maybe.
I'll give you one thing. I can, from what I'm picturing together, I like the font and like the colors, kind of going for like this '80s sci-fi vibe, like '80s like Transformers kind of like color palette. So maybe that's what maybe that's gonna be that kind of game, but I don't know. All right, so yeah, Gran Turismo movie. I don't want to talk. We already talked about that last episode.
Yeah.
In detail. So it was really stupid putting that in there. Like that was out of touch. They talked about the PS5 like the new hardware, like the handheld. We could play cloud gaming on it, and then the earbuds. Do we have to talk about that or?
I mean, this
No.
was another Jim Ryan segment.
Yeah. I was like, get off my.
And
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, who wants a cloud? Who wants a remote play based handheld console? Who wants a handheld console you can only use in your house?
Yeah.
What is the point?
Plus,
in
we
that?
already have something like that already, like for like third party stuff. Like so.
That was literally what the Wii U's premise was, and it failed.
Yeah.
I mean, like not specifically because of that feature, but like it feels really ill-advised, especially like because I thought they were just announcing like a backbone controller type thing. Like
That's what I'm saying. We already
it took
basically
me
have
a few
that.
seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Coming soon, the
'cause
PlayStation Power Glove.
It really.
It just would have been much smarter if they just had like their own special backbone type controller that just had like the DualSense capabilities for like PlayStation games and stuff. Like that, does that not seem like a smarter, more efficient, thing to put resources into? Like, rather than basically a screen that has apparently 3 to 4 hours of battery life. I don't know.
The PlayStation has a long and horrible history with handheld gaming. And
All
I
right,
won't
let's
hear
talk
otherwise.
about the real main event, y'all. Let's talk about the real main event.
I was gonna say, but before we do, I was gonna say like PS5 is going to PlayStation's big thing with the story more than the handheld stuff is that PlayStation's investing a lot in cloud gaming as it's the future, and everybody's investing in cloud gaming. Like as that's why, the CMA made their ruling about Activision and everything. And that
Right.
Sony's investing way more in cloud now. So my point is, you're gonna see PS5 games streaming pretty soon.
That was
The servers.
that was the thing I said when I was watching the showcase. Though, was the thing that I said was like, I can't believe this is why the Microsoft Activision deal is getting screwed.
Yeah.
Like we're losing that.
Yeah,
it's pretty
so
wild.
fucking stupid.
It does feel stupid now, but like I wouldn't be surprised in like 10 years. It's a major component of gaming. I don't know, but we'll see. Like that feels more likely that's gonna take off than VR does. You know what I mean? Like VR, people say VR is the future. I think more than likely cloud gaming where you can play anything on your phone or any device is probably the future. But we're just not
Yeah.
there yet infrastructure wise.
No, it will be. But this isn't cloud gaming, is it? Or like this is just remote play.
But that's like, my point is, you're gonna be able to play PS5 games like way better, like with clouding. I feel like this is kind of Sony's first venture into that, like sphere. So
Sure.
this is like the first step. They're way behind Microsoft in this field. So
Absolutely. Like I don't think they're catching up.
Yeah, their servers are horrible. My point is they're investing more in it, and they're going to be better soon.
And now you can get earphones.
Yeah, which I actually don't hate the idea of earbuds for like gaming, but my problem is I have
It just looks so weird.
I have small ears,
Yeah.
and I have to have a very
Don't talk
specific.
about
I have to have very specific AirPods that fit my AirPods of Apple fit perfectly, but like most earbuds do not fit my ears, so
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be a waste of money for me. I don't need that
Yeah.
anyway. Headphones are better quality anyway. All right.
Right.
So the last thing they showed, obviously, which was like the big, the thing everybody wanted from the showcase
Yeah.
all throughout
Gonna move my microphone away from my mouth for a second here.
Oh.
Sorry.
I love how it cut
We
off.
only got about half. Yeah,
Did
half.
that not help?
She's like,
I
"What?"
don't even know if that helped. Did that help?
No, because you did what, and then I just went cut off like and it was
God
just,
damn
it was
it.
just silence.
No.
So
I said wait. I said woo. There we go. Now I got caught.
But so I knew it was Craven the Hunter
I'm
like
excited too.
immediately, like when I first I was like on Twitter, I was like I put like in all capitals, oh my god, is that Craven the Hunter? And so I knew, and it was, and which is I think is a great character for this game.
They're absolutely doing one of the best Spider-Man comics of all time, Kraven's Last Hunt, or at least they're doing some kind of version of it because they have the Black symbiote, they have Kraven. They probably won't have like Vermin or some of the other like lesser characters. Yes, you can come up here if you want to. Talking to a cat. That's just such a good series in Spider-Man. I mean, Kraven ends up like committing suicide, and he ends up like almost killing Spider-Man at one point, and like that's the meme, by the way, where I don't know if y'all have ever seen, but Spider-Man with the black symbiote suit looking over the grave, and like he's all solemn and shit. Yeah, it's just there's so many like awesome scenes from that. Spider-Man coming out of the grave is from that graphic novel as well. Kraven's
What are
Last
the
Hunt,
chances
so.
any of these are going to be spoilers for the game?
No idea.
I didn't see anything that would spoil the game, like ruin the game for me personally.
Yeah. But
So, like-
yeah.
But it opens up right in a jungle,
Yeah.
and we don't know it's Spider-Man. So I'm sitting there watching this with some friends, and we're all saying, we're trying to figure out what this is, and we're like,
I know you didn't know it was
is it Turok? Is it Dino Crisis?
It's a new Predator game. You didn't know?
Is it a new Predator game? It's the
Remember that
the
game?
sequel to that,
The
the
Last
sequel to that
Hunt.
5v1 game.
No, yeah.
But the Craven guy,
Yeah.
I don't read comic books, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I had no idea what he looked like. For some, when people started talking about Craven the Hunter,
Yeah.
I started picturing the guy from Bloodborne,
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
and that's what I was expecting. So like this guy coming in and who kind of looks like a regular dude.
He is a regular dude.
He's a regular. I was.
well,
I mean,
Right.
he's,
Very
he's a
big
regular
regular
dude.
dude.
God damn it, Dolce. He's a regular dude who took like a serum. Serum? Well, that's what you get. Don't jump on my laptop. He took like this serum that like gave him the powers to like hunt. Well, he didn't take it. It depends on the interpretation, right? But like
He drinks potions, I think.
Yeah, he used potions. He got attacked by a lion. I think his partner tries to save him and gives him this experimental drug because in the MCU or Marvel in general, it's always science that gives you powers. But yeah, he's like as strong as a lion, as quick as a cheetah, blah blah blah. It's all hunter lion themed.
Yeah. Yep. But he's an iconic Spider-Man villain. He's one of the top 5 most iconic.
And he's usually a decent match for Spider-Man. I mean, when Spidey has the black symbiote, it's a different story, obviously. But generally speaking, I mean, he's very fast. He's very strong. He has a wide arsenal of weapons. So he is. Can you tell that I watch and love a lot of Spider-Man? But he.
No, not at all.
Spider-Man's my favorite.
Yeah. But I grew up with the '90s show, and then I also watched some of the 2000s shows as well. But yeah, so I think he'll be a really great villain. It's also awesome to have another humanoid villain. It's so easy to do
kinda
non-humanoid
like-
villains in video games.
He's kind of like Bane, not as like strong, but he's kind of like a mastermind of like he has like
Yeah,
his
he's a
own-
lot smarter than Bane.
Bane.
Yeah,
No,
Bane can be smart, but he can also be really dumb, depending on how much venom he's using.
it depends on the interpretation, but Bane's usually
Yes.
like he's usually like a criminal like not mastermind, but he's usually
Yeah.
like in charge of a gang and
Yes,
he-
Craven is always smart, whereas Bane is sometimes smart. So
yeah,
that's
but
the
my
difference
point
there.
is they're both like the same kind of where they take something that gets stronger and they both
Yes,
like,
yes,
run a
exactly,
gang.
exactly. Yes.
So yeah, he's a great villain, and then they showed symbiote Spider-Man, which looks.
I freaked out. Seb can attest that when he was doing any of the symbiote
The black
moves, I
costume.
was freaking out.
The black costume's arguably always been my favorite Spider-Man costume. I've always
so good.
When I was a kid, I always drew Venom and Black Spider-Man, and he looks incredible. The suit just looks really really good. I hope he dances in this one.
Yes. I hope so
as a
too.
side
Billy
mission or
McGuire,
something.
let's go. Yes.
I was expecting to hear that da-da-da-da-da, like at some point. Maybe we'll get that like in a cameo somewhere. But
That would be incredible.
But yeah, and then Yuri's going for like a edgy Peter Parker.
It's perfect. It's
yeah.
pitch perfect. It's exactly the kind of stuff that they did in the 90s Spider-Man. And he has the opportunity to do the funniest fucking
Shocker!
thing because Shocker is in this game and he can go, Shocker, you come back here. Oh my
I
god,
said
I
in a
need it
tweet
so
somewhere,
bad.
but it's like
can't escape me.
I'm guaranteeing it now that it's going to be the name of a trophy.
Yes.
Yeah, that
yes,
better be
absolutely.
that better be something reference to that.
It'll be like you can't escape me or
I'll
something
chase
like
you to
that.
the
Yeah.
ends of the earth.
I'll do that to the
That's cute.
But yeah, there's been a lot of speculation. It's really cool if you notice that, Spider-Man doesn't, even though Miles isn't sure who is lurking like in the shadows in the sewer or whatever when they're following the lizard, like his spider senses isn't going off because he's got the symbiote. It's gonna be so fucking cool when you have to be at Miles and have to fight Peter because the symbiote's taking over his body and his mind and stuff. I'm just so excited. So excited.
That's one of my main takeaways is like the interesting places that the story could go, because they in this like gameplay they present multiple elements. You know, you got Craven, the symbiote, Miles and Peter and that relationship and stuff, and like there are so many ideas that just pop into your head watching that. Like, here's what could happen. Here's what might happen in this with this and with that. So like, yeah, there's a lot of potential. For that.
I think, I think they showed a lot of different kinds of gameplay, which is very important. They showed the swinging, they showed the cinematics, they showed the combat. I mean, the way that fucking Peter just goddamn ruins that man's day up against that side of the house when he fucking kicks him like 10 times. It's amazing.
I love that bit. That's like something out of a Donnie Yen film.
It's so good.
Yeah,
like get the fuck out. That is incredible.
They showed the Miles gameplay if you can switch to Miles and stuff, and like
yes,
Miles
that's what I was gonna say.
Miles can create his own like rope and stuff. That was cool.
Yeah, and you've got the glider. You've got the web gliding. So now you can do web gliding, and you can seamlessly switch between Peter and well, I think it's storyline based, but you seamlessly switch between the two characters, which is such a obvious way of handling both characters. I don't know.
They're gonna keep increasing the ante in every Spider-Man game. So maybe in Spider-Man 3, we're gonna get like the spider, like car, and then the spider like Megazord or something.
Let's go. We're gonna get no. We're gonna get Spider-Man and his Fantastic Friends.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like,
that's what we'll get.
Yeah, you guys know that I am not a fan of sequels that kind of retread the same ground as the previous game, especially with like gameplay and stuff. Because like God of War Ragnarok, a big reason I didn't click with that game so much as other people is the fact that like I know they added new weapons and stuff, but like gameplay wise, it's kept it very close to the first game. And so what I'm excited about seeing with this is like there is a lot of like they're not just adding new abilities that are kind of superficial. Like you've got the symbiote, you've got the web lines, you've got the web, the wingsuit kind of thing, and it's like all these things that kind of expand on the game the first game in a meaningful way, and like they're gonna make this game feel
the
different.
stealth mechanics look really good. I don't know if it was just the person playing it, but the normal combat and the gadgets seem really synced up too. If you know what you're doing, I think this is going to be. I mean, this is definitely going to be a contention for GOTY for me, depending on the story. I think the symbiote is really going to change the trajectory of it. It's going to really put a big impasse between Miles and Peter, because he's going to keep pushing to do things by himself, and Miles is like, "Hey, we're a team. Like, what are we doing?" It's going to culminate in some really emotional fights between the two of them.
Yeah, because if you noticed when they showed the title, like when the symbiote was covering the logo, the electricity shocked the symbiote.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is going to, which implies that Miles is immune to the symbiote. So that's probably gonna be a
Yes.
I wouldn't even say I wouldn't even say
he can
immune to it. I'd just say that like he's going to be the one to exactly. He's going to be the one to knock Peter out of it, which I feel is good because I don't really want a retread of the Spider-Man going up to the bell tower or whatever and shedding the symbiote there. Like,
well,
it's been done
if
at
Shocker's
least 3
involved,
times
then
already.
I want that. But yeah, I mean, otherwise,
okay, no. Yeah.
But people were criticizing the game, saying it looked too much like Spider-Man. I was like, what do you want it to look like? Like, how do you make a Spider-Man game without QuickTime events and swinging and like? Do you want a first-person shooter? Like, I don't understand.
Some people were complaining that it was in New York. I'm like, he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, not your global. Like, he's not going to show up in Nepal. Like,
which is funny because people complain. Because people complained that like Far From Home was in like Europe and like, where's my New York? And now they're like, we're stuck in New York. Make up your minds, people.
It's like they added a couple places too, which I like. So, or at least seemingly added a couple places.
I mean, I can see why people are concerned that they're gonna retread New York, but I
think even if they're obviously using New York again, but I think as long as they change this, like, because in Miles Morales, right, it's the same map, but it's snowing. It's a different time of year. That's the kind of thing you need to do, I think. Like, I think it's totally fine to reuse the same map, but if you have it under different conditions, that is absolutely fine. And that's probably what they're going to do. Yeah. And also, like, so the first time watching this trailer, and I think it's because the last Insomniac game I played was Ratchet and Clank. Mm-hmm. So coming off of that, where, like, the character faces, I mean, they're all aliens and stuff. There's no real, like, it's a different art style, but like, there's so much praise about that looking like a Pixar movie and stuff, and like the fur quality and everything. Coming off of that, I think, and watching this gameplay trailer, and like the first thing you see is Kraven's face and stuff. It looked a little underwhelming graphically, but like after going and seeing comparison images between the first game and this, it's a lot clearer where the upgrades are. And
also watch the 4K version because the streams always do these games.
I did go back and rewatch it as well, yeah, but I didn't. I still saw the same kind of faults, but
yeah,
those things can be fixed. For the things are not final.
Even then,
this still isn't coming out till the end of the year. Also, it looked great to me.
I love Insomniac, but they're not like the greatest at like hyper realistic compared to like Naughty Dog. They don't blow your socks off.
Right.
It's like they never really like.
Yeah.
No,
right. I'm not saying they are. I'm just
wasn't
saying
hyper realistic, anyways.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's just not their style. They don't.
But it also seems like they'll put a lot of the resources of the PS5 into just like moving through the city quicker with the wingsuit and stuff, as opposed to super realistic graphics, which is fine. The other thing, this is my last note, but the other thing that I'm a little unsure about is the writing seems a little, like there's a couple lines in there where
I'm not sure.
Little, what's the word for it? But like
forced?
No, not forced, but like a little. Wait,
are we talking about Peter here, or are we talking about other
just the
characters?
writing? Like I hate using the word cringy, but that's kind of the vibe I got. Was like the whole bit where they go the alley oop thing, where they toss the thing, and then it's like they're going, okay, alley oop on 3, 1, 2, 3, alley oop.
Yeah,
and like. I'm not a
It-
fan
it-
of that kind of thing. It's a little.
I thought it was fine. It's
That's
just
a-
them saying alley
Yeah.
oop.
That doesn't bother me.
I know, but like,
Honestly, if you
I know I'm
can't accept
nitpicking,
cringe
but-
in Spider-Man, then you can't accept Spider-Man. Spider-Man's always been a little cringy. Like, there's a thread
Yeah.
on Twitter of his like funniest jokes. So many of them are like corny humor. I don't know. I've always thought that he's got a bit of corniness in him.
I'm kind of I'm if anything, I was gonna say I'd have a critique over. I mean, obviously, like, I mean, I don't know what context in the game this is. Like, I don't know what everything that's led up to it, but I'm at least like for the dialogue that we saw in the trailer, and I'm not sure if it's just because it's jarring, but it's like I'm not like I feel like like his Yuri Lowenthal's like sort of symbiote Peter voice, or like how he talks, his dialogue feels a little bit too over the top. Like it definitely. I don't know how to word it, but it's like, I don't know, like it feels like it's, very over the top, very like,
Kinda
oh,
like
I've
he's-
got the symbiote, I'm bad now, but
Yeah, kind of like he's putting on a voice.
I think that
kind of, but I just have to
that
see
is
how
what
it
he's
plays out
doing,
in the
but
game.
I think it works
Yeah.
really well because that is how Peter would think. I know this is kind of meta, but I think that is how Peter would think tough guys sound because Peter's a fucking nerd. And so when he tries to act like a tough guy, that is how Peter would act. I know it's silly and like maybe that's too meta of an
No, I mean,
explanation.
no, that's right.
But,
I agree
yeah.
with that, and I'm
Yeah.
fine with his voice with that.
Yeah.
I think like the voice act, like
And
the
that's-
actual
that's
acting
exactly how he
was
did in the
great, but I
90s.
just need to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't really like it in the 90s either. Like I like the more nuanced takes
You weren't
on it.
alive
Like
in the 90s.
I watched the show. I could
Disney
still
Plus.
watch the show.
It's a different era though.
No, I watched it on VHS and DVD back at like.
Oh, all
I
right.
literally, I remember renting the Spider-Man versus Venom DVD like volume they had from Blockbuster, and I remember
Wow.
being terrified of the Venom episode.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty wild.
That's not.
Yeah,
Although
yeah.
the '90s one is not even the best Spider-Man show anyway.
Well, no. Oh yeah,
Well,
but it's like,
wait,
like,
which one's the best
I,
one? Spectacular?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
spectacular.
I don't know. I don't like. I
art
love
style is
Spectacular. Don't
weird.
get me wrong.
The
The art style's weird.
But
yeah,
the
that's my
writing
only problem
was
with it.
top notch.
The writing is Greg Wiseman forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, that's exactly it. Like, I preferred the spectacular version, and I even liked, like, I like the general idea of what they try to do with the symbiote in Spider-Man 3, where it's like they treated it much more like a real world drug addiction rather than just now he's he's evil Peter Parker instantly, like, like
Yeah.
in both of those it was much more of a slow burn, whereas like, I mean, obviously this isn't at least I'm assuming the very first time it gets into the game, but it's like it felt very jarring that
Sure, I get
at
that.
least in the gameplay here,
But
that
the
it's like he's
impression-
suddenly like. But, like, obviously, I don't know the full context of the game.
No.
Like, I'm fully expecting once I get up to that mission, I'd be like, okay, yeah, what he's saying makes sense here, but it's just
The impression
first
that
gameplay
I-
out of the gate.
Absolutely got
Yes.
was that like, they're gonna go for like a build up where he gets worse. I mean, that's kind of what they were hinting at with the dialogue there, and it's like, does he normally act like that? No, and it's like it's gonna be.
I'd agree.
Definitely be that kind of build up of like him
Oh,
getting
for
worse
sure.
and worse.
For sure, but it's like at the same time, because this at least seems to be like their first time really reacting, like Miles
Sure,
is like,
right.
oh, like new threads, or like, does he usually? I felt like this seems like the first time at least they have seen the symbiote.
Yes, it's definitely the first time Miles has. He would not have said new threads.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise,
But it's like,
so
but it's like, he's already kind of, like acting all over the top and well, not evil, but you get what I mean, though.
It was subtle
I need to
though.
see
Like,
more.
the
I
way
need
he
to see
threw
more.
the way he threw the guy and everything was.
well,
That I
so
that is
I
great.
would,
So
I
it's
would
just like
say
at least his internal dialogue. Whereas
I would
like,
say that there was some writing where it's like where Peter was like, "We'll do this together," and there was some conjecture on Twitter that he wasn't talking about him and Miles, like he was talking about him and the symbiote, which I think would be really cool if that is the case. But obviously, that's subjective. You could speculate.
I feel like it was Miles though. Like I feel like, but
Maybe.
like yeah, it would be interesting if it was like later revealed at least that he was. I've seen a theory on Twitter actually that like people think like Peter will turn into Venom, and I cannot say how much I hate that idea. I despise
I don't think that
it.
usually does not happen. I don't think Eddie Brock was Eddie Brock even mentioned in the first game? I don't think he was.
He had a. I mean, I'm pretty sure Peter mentioned Eddie, and there's like multiple instances where you can see like Eddie Brock's name on like certain like collectible items and
Okay,
stuff.
so
Like,
maybe.
he definitely
Oh,
exists.
maybe.
He
Right, it
exists,
definitely exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
but
don't know.
not yet.
We'll
Now,
see.
Yeah, I don't know.
before we wrap it up, because we gotta start wrapping it up.
Yep.
You guys think we're gonna see Green Goblin in this game?
No.
I hope not. I feel like that'd be too much.
Yeah.
Well, I
definitely
mean,
a tease at
Vince,
the
they would
end,
never
but
put too many villains in one Spider-Man property. Like, that would never happen.
especially in one involving Venom.
Right, and Green Goblin and
And Green
Sandman.
Goblin. Yeah.
I could see him. I could see him being like a tease at the end, and then
Yes,
Spider-Man
I
3.
could also
Yeah.
see that. I think a tease at the end
But I
is
think
what's going to happen.
I think
That's
Kraven
it.
should be the main villain, and then the symbiote
I-
should be like the side story going on at the same time.
I feel like they're gonna do the same thing that they did with the first game. Is that like for most of the marketing, they're gonna focus on, like in the first game, they focused on Mr. Negative being the main bad guy, even though by the end it was Doc Ock. I feel
Yeah.
like they're doing that again for this game, where it's like they're gonna focus on Venom, but like he's mostly going to be taken down by the end of the second act, and then for the final act, it's Venom or the symbiote.
I would love
whatever.
if it was Venom controlled Kraven or something like that, like what happens in Kraven's Last Hunt. I think that would be so cool.
Or at least something to do with that. But yeah, it's like
Kraven's probably be the first half.
depending on
villain,
how
and
they're
Venom the
gonna
second.
yeah, but like depending on how they adapt the story, like I wouldn't be surprised if the game like takes like 20 hours to mainline or so. Like I'd imagine this being a pretty beefy game, all things
Yeah,
considered.
probably. Do you think Eminem's going to do the title theme?
I wish.
What? Wait, what?
Because you know how he did the title theme for the Venom
movie.
The movie.
I'm curious what the theme song is gonna be.
Venom, 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 Venom.
Nope. I don't get it.
So I'm excited. I'm super excited for this game. Obviously, it's probably not gonna be my goatee, but it's gonna be my top 10, I'd imagine. I mean, this year is
Yeah.
incredible. So
Safe bet.
Insomniac is a great studio, but they still don't make like Last of Us level games yet. Like they're always like an 88, 89.
They are
which is
the
great. Which is
most-
fine.
I kind of
They're consistent.
fine with that though. Yeah,
They're the most reliable studio
Yes.
out there.
100%.
Yeah, very consistent. They're carrying Sony right now. I mean, look at that showcase. So overall, as we wrap it up, the showcase, like I said, wasn't good for a first party at all. Like there's so much people expected. We didn't get anything. We didn't get anything from.
Yeah.
There's a lot of studios that they have, and then we got zero. On that.
I'm what's known as a single issue voter. I came for Spider-Man. I saw Spider-Man. I was excited, but other than that, yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah,
I really want Jim Ryan to get the sack for this. But that's just because I want Jim Ryan to get the sack, not specifically for this. But I think this would be a good opportunity to do that.
There we go.
Yeah.
I hope he gets. I hope he comes. Like somebody comes back in on the next one. Like a big, like obvious fake mustache and glasses and stuff and makeup, and it's Ryan Jim instead of Jim Ryan.
Brilliant. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
But as a third party
that'd be so good.
showcase, it was actually not that bad. Like there was plenty of games I'm gonna buy.
It was decent. Yeah,
Like,
I
was
think
fine.
the showcase was like decent overall. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't wowed by it either. But there's like at least like 5 or 6 games that I'm interested in, and at least one game,
Yeah.
2 games I'll absolutely play: Spider-Man and Metal Gear Solid.
As a showcase itself, it was fine, but the hype of being 2 years of like nothing, and then you do that. It's just bad marketing. It should have just been a state of play, and that's it.
Yes.
They should have never called it a PlayStation showcase. When you call it a PlayStation showcase, it should be nothing but first party or third party.
And they made it sound
deals.
like that too. They made it sound like that too.
Yeah, so
The best studios in the world and so on.
yeah, and it should have been a live show, and that's the one thing I miss about old Sony from like PS4 with Sean Layden and stuff. Like they had they had a PlayStation event, and and E3 was like live stage and orchestra, and Sean would come out with like
I would say
Crash Bandicoot
for
shirt.
me, for me, there was like 6 or 7 games I was interested in, and 2 games I'll definitely play, which is Metal Gear Solid and Spider-Man. But everything else,
Yeah, I think I have like at least 10 games I'm interested in. So as a showcase, I'm happy, like in terms of that. But as a PlayStation show,
Again-
it's just terrible.
Again, it really does feel weird to be saying this about a businessman, but I do miss Sean Layden.
like I said, I'm not Team Jim, but I've been happy with my PS5 in these 3 years.
He left
So-
he left for a pack of smokes and a
I-
carton
I think in the
gallon of
present he is given the results. He's doing a good job in the result category. The concern for him is the future. Is Sony going to beat this service like this? Are they going to go too far in that direction where Sony goes downhill? That's the concern. I think the first
podcast has absolutely proven that we only need really one topic to have a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah,
I told you that.
I want Jim Ryan to bet big on live service games, and I want all of them to fail, because then we're gonna get somebody else and somebody better.
I don't. With the numbers they're getting, I don't think it would take something catastrophic to get rid of him. Unfortunately, not defending him. I'm just saying, like, they're doing record numbers, and they're.
Well, that's why I want the live service games to fail, because that would be a big hit.
All they need is one game to succeed. They can make 7 of them. If one game succeeds, then that's it.
Spider-Man 2 is going to do numbers.
No, I mean,
when
like,
it comes out.
yeah, but games of service games, like, they just need one multiplayer to hit, and that's it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll only accept it if it's Resistance 4.
That's fair.
And finally, I would say the biggest problem with the show is that, like, you show your games as a service, and you only show CGI trailers, and it doesn't tell me anything about the games. I
just don't know when will companies learn. That's not the way to get us enticed.
Exactly. When it comes to like Dragon's Dogma or Metal Gear Solid or Spider-Man, you can just do CGI because we know what to expect and all that stuff. That the story and the stories are the main focus, right?
Right. But, and with Dragon's Dogma and games that are far away, like, it's okay to do CGI because you're saying, hey, we don't have gameplay ready yet. But with games that are coming out soon this year, where the fuck's the gameplay?
We don't know if they're soon, unfortunately, too. But
I'm just saying for the ones that are, though, the ones that say, winter 2023 or something.
Games as a service, the main focus of a games as a service is the gameplay, and if that's what sells the game. If we don't know what the game plays like, looks like, it doesn't get anyone excited. Like all you have to do with Spider-Man is show like a cool CGI trailer, everybody gets excited, and that's it, right? But when you show like a new game like Conquered or forgot all the names now.
The one with the money symbol.
Yeah, with the one with the money symbol. We don't know shit.
Fair games.
Fair games. I don't know. Yeah. How am I supposed to be excited about a game? I have no idea what it looks like. For all I know, it looks like a 2D 8-bit game. Like, because how do we know?
It's because Jim Ryan doesn't play video games. He's used to doing investor calls where he just has to say the name of a game, and this is our new exciting live service game coming, and people and the investors get excited. He thinks this works the same, but it doesn't, and he doesn't know, and that's why.
I'm just saying, like, they're doing fine right now, but the concern is the future. I don't. What's Sony gonna be like in 3 to 5 years? I don't know. I'm not. I'm not doom and gloom. I'm not doom and gloom.
I said on Twitter, it's like like, obviously this showcase itself is disappointing, but like, yeah, as you said, I'm not doom and gloom. Like, I know all these other devs, like, your Naughty Dogs, your Sony Santa Monica's, they are working on something, and I'm happy because they have such a proven track record. I'm happy just waiting. It's like, there are other third-party titles that are coming out. I've got plenty of games in my backlog. I'm not starving for like a new Sony release anytime soon. Like, even if it takes another 2 years for the next Naughty Dog game to come out, I mean, obviously it'd be a long wait, but like, I'd rather have it be good than have them, like, especially or at least have them announce something and then have another Spider-Man 2 where it's like, okay, they announce it and then it takes another 2 full years almost to say anything else.
Yeah. Don't be surprised if Sony just stops doing these showcases, and like, they're probably fine with the state of plays, like, even though if they're bad, because whatever. Here's our third party, whatever.
I honestly I didn't even pick up on the word change. I just kind of assumed, yep, okay, it's a show.
Yeah, I mean,
state of play showcase. Like, I didn't even like pick up on the fact that, okay, this is supposed to be a more grand showing.
These
I'm
things,
just like, okay, it's their June show. Yeah.
These things don't move the needles like people make it out to be, because we're all in the hardcore gamer spaces, so we all see the reaction and all that. But most people don't even watch these things. Most people just see Spider-Man. Oh wow, Spider-Man looks cool, and that's it. Exactly. So Sony doesn't. Sony can just do a Twitter post and then get the same.
A lot of people online don't even watch the shows. They just like they just kind of like exist, and then it's like
They watch the
go
trailers.
onto YouTube and see that.
Yeah,
Exactly,
they watch the
just see
individual trailers.
The trailer
Yeah, so
afterwards.
these showcases.
And then like, oh, that
Yeah.
was revealed. Like,
So
yeah, no one
we,
cares.
as the hardcore gamers, make these out to be a giant deal. Like if Xbox screws up next month, like they're not gonna like end. Like it's gonna be disappointing for them on the hardcore space. It's gonna be a bad look, but it's not the end of Microsoft if Xbox fumbles their showcase too.
They do have a big opportunity though.
They do.
To have a great showcase and
They do.
really show up Sony.
Yep. And usually the only problem is every time we put our faith in Xbox, they usually it's probably gonna be.
They've had the great few years
They've-
of showcases though.
They've had.
To be
but
fair,
when everybody
showcases are
hypes, but when everybody hypes the show,
Yeah.
like everybody expects it to be like mind blowing, they usually fumble it.
Yeah.
That's happened. The last
I mean,
few
like,
years.
remember, like, was it last year or the year before, like, where they had that really, really great showcase of, like, where they announced Redfall and the Indiana Jones game and, you know, like, a few other things, and it's, like,
Oh, that
a
was
lot of the,
2020.
like,
Yeah.
surely not.
Not
No,
2020.
2019.
What 2020? The Xbox showcase. What the Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
The
Was it
2020.
the one that, like, we were all up and, like, they had that really good showing of, like, Forza Horizon 5 or 4 or something, and it's like, you know, we were like, oh, look at the ray
Yeah.
tracing, and
Let me check because it was the same year Forza Horizon 5 came out.
Yeah, but either way,
surely there's 21.
either way,
2021.
yeah, 2020
Yeah,
was
okay,
like
fair enough.
was their incredible show, and then like the last couple of years after that, people were like, oh my god, they're gonna nail it. It's gonna be phenomenal. Sony's in trouble, and then it's like,
Mm.
So
I mean, like, the showcases can be good, but, like, you know,
Yeah.
whether the actual games released are good, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I always come from a different mindset than other people. Like I don't go in these showcases expecting to be blown away, get my balls blown off, like people say with this game. Like I see games that I like, I buy them, and then we move on. Like I don't. People make these shows out to be like, oh my god, Jim's it's the end of Sony. Jim's gonna kill us all, and the same thing in like last 3 weeks. It was like Phil should be fired. Phil's ruining Xbox. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Now we're back. Now we're Sony's doom and gloom. And then today Nintendo was like, you know, now they're anti-corporate with the Dolphin emulator with Steam. They have a DMCA against Steam. So it's like now we're gonna be doom and gloom with Nintendo.
I get your point,
It's
right?
just
But
a
like,
constant.
I can only speak from a personal standpoint, but Jim Ryan is personally responsible for like 95% of my decline in interest in video games over the past few years. It's
But-
his fault.
But I would argue though, like you've had fantastic games on Nintendo and fantastic game on PC and Steam and stuff. Like, are you only PlayStation where he affects you that much? I mean, think about like what most
I
of what.
have been a PlayStation fan since the PlayStation 1.
Sure,
And
but 90%
all
of
the
the
games,
Go ahead.
all the games are now £70.
Sure.
All the
Well, that's-
PlayStation franchises I've enjoyed in the past are, you know, stagnant. It's a new God of War game, it's a new Horizon game, etc. I'm enjoying video games, but yeah, like there's just I don't know, man. I don't like Jim Ryan.
I mean, I don't like Jim Ryan myself. I'm just saying, like, I'm happy. I said I don't need to be. I don't want to be fans of him. I'm happy with my PS5, and like 90% of what we play every year is third party anyway. And so I don't get too caught up with who has the best first party, because like all the best games this year have been third party. So mostly anyway.
All right. Well,
so-
we've gone over the 3 hour mark at this point. We're going on the 4 hour mark. So
We're almost at the 4 hour mark.
I'm going for a 1 hour long.
I mean, I still have a lot of
rant about
energy.
Jim Ryan.
But
yeah,
but
I'm good.
we
And
can
Mitch
move
wants to go too. So you guys can keep talking about Jim Ryan after hours.
on.
That's fine. We'll do it next week.
Yeah, do it
All right,
next week.
the lounge
The great
podcast
Jim off.
No, so next week I'm gonna be talking about Diablo 4 because that is
By next week, he means next week.
Is
yeah,
that
next episode.
going to be out?
Yes, if you have the
Shit.
if you buy the special edition, you get played June 1st, which is next Thursday. So
Alright.
I'll be playing it next
Jesus.
week. And I'm super hyped for this game. It's probably the game I'm gonna put the most hours into. That and Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm super excited to talk about it. That's
Me too, but I'm not buying the special edition.
I don't know yet. I can wait a couple days to save money. It's not like the end of the world, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our
Pretty
show.
good,
Next time, if we have a showcase, let's make that the only topic for the episode.
Yes.
Yeah, no kidding.
I did tell you guys that I fully expected this, but
We should have
I can talk
just
for
gotten
5
rid of
hours.
Guardians.
But I
We
can
should have
talk.
got rid-
Yeah, go ahead.
The Guardians.
We
thing
should have
is
gotten rid
great.
of Guardians. We should have got rid of Guardians.
I guess. I thought it was.
I mean, I
fine.
like talking about it. It's just like I feel bad for the people who have to listen to us for 3.5 hours. Jesus.
I mean, this is
One
pretty.
of the nobody's got a gun to their heads.
Yeah, that and it's pretty.
Well, you don't know that. I've actually come to everybody's houses personally in a Crash Bandicoot outfit, and I put a gun to their heads, and I'm like, listen to the whole episode of The Lounge, you
That
asshole.
it's pretty. Every podcast I listen to is 3.5 to 4 hours anyway. Like I don't. Like 2 hours is usually short on the shorter side. Anyway,
And then at the end, they talk about how it's a long podcast and
Yep.
how they could have cut topics out and stuff. Yeah,
Drag it
that's
on
right.
even more.
it's normal podcast
Yep.
stuff.
yep.
They go
Alright.
on even more.
You all have a good
Bye.
night. Happy summer.
Bye.
Have a great summer.
Goodbye. We're leaving.
Bye.
Thank you for
Press
listening.
stop.
We
Press
appreciate
stop.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, but just
Let us.